Falk defends its traffic cameras to a skeptical U City Council.
This is objective evidence.
I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
Why are universities across Missouri increasing the cost of tuition? And could Harris Stowe join the fold? I'm Jade Aubrey, and I'll tell you more next hour.
If you're waiting for prescriptions to be filled from Walgreens pharmacies, you might be waiting quite some time. I'm Maria Kina with another update.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Severe thunderstorms to start the day, then some sunshine and rather humid later today with a late day thunderstorm possible, the high 81.
Cards win the series against the Cubs. We'll have it for you at 6:15.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The U.S. and Iran trading attacks over the weekend, testing the ceasefire that had already been on shaky ground.
President Trump posted on social media overnight saying Iran really wants to come to a deal, urging his critics to sit back and relax, promising it will all work out in the end.
ABC's Karen Hua, the judge who oversaw President Trump's IRS settlement, has essentially reopened the decision, including the $1.8 billion fund set up to benefit those who feel they've been wronged by the government. 35 former federal judges wrote to the judge who decided on the decision, asking for another investigation into President Trump's dismissal, saying it was an abuse of the federal court system. Curfew at an ICE detention center in Newark, New Jersey has now been lifted. There have been protests going on outside. Some family members allege inhumane conditions inside. In Laos, 5 miners have been brought out to safety from that flooded out cave. 2 are still missing. This is ABC News. The mandatory curfew that had been put in place for just outside the Delaney Hall ICE Detention Center in Newark has been lifted for the morning. ABC's Krista McNally has more on another rally that was held there on Sunday.
Governor Mikey Sherrill sent in state police to bring order outside of Delaney Hall. This all began over a week ago when detainees at the ICE facility started a hunger strike, claiming there is poor living conditions inside. That is when protesters began gathering outside, many supporting the detainees and some in favor of the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents.
Families have now been allowed visits with those inside, which had previously been banned. Malaysia is the latest country to implement a social media ban for children younger than 16. The rules require social media platforms like Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram to implement age verification systems. Kids will have a month to download or transfer their data before the restrictions take place. I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
It is now 6:02, and we just saw some pretty impressive lightning over the Soldiers Memorial here. So we have thunderstorms moving through at 68 degrees right now in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. The region is under a thunderstorm watch until 9 o'clock this morning. We will keep you updated as today's weather progresses.
Are police cameras unfairly targeting some University City neighborhoods?
That was the debate at a recent city council meeting over the local network of license plate readers. Councilman John Tiemann pressed Flock Safety, the company that runs the cameras, on why the hardware seems mostly to him to be set up in lower income areas.
This, to me, sounds awfully like using technology to automate systemic racial profiles.
Flock Public Affairs Representative Holly Boleyn pushed back, arguing their software doesn't see race or income.
I would point to the fact that this technology, it's objective. This is objective evidence. It's an image of a license plate and vehicle details.
U City Police say the cameras are intentionally focused on commercial corridors to deter crime, not to monitor where people live. The meeting was informational. There was no vote taken. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Missouri's universities are increasing their tuition to stay afloat, but what else can they do?
Harris Stowe may join the University of Missouri system in raising undergraduate tuition by 5% this fall, according to Harris Stowe President Dr. LaTanya Collins-Smith. She says tuition increases are due to rising operational costs that universities can't keep up with, but those won't entirely solve the issue. Dr. Smith says one of the solutions may be creating partnerships with outside entities and businesses, something most universities do through graduate programs.
With master's degree programs, it's not fully funded by financial aid. Some institutions rely on partnerships with industry who actually pay for their employees to receive a master's degree.
She says Harris Stowe will offer the university's first graduate degree this fall, which will be an MBA. Jade Aubrey, KMOX News.
Missouri Senator Josh Hawley says every Missourian who has been poisoned by their own government by radiation contamination in the St. Louis and St. Charles areas is eligible to apply for the Radiation Compensation Act, or RECA.
You know, if you lived for a time in either of those two areas and you developed cancer or one of the other illnesses that is associated with nuclear radiation, the federal government will compensate you. You can get your medical bills paid for. You can get a next of kin payment if you've lost a loved one. You can get help with costs for their funeral or costs for their care. And this is available to anybody. You can apply online. If you need help applying, we would love to help you. My office would love to help you.
Hawley says RECA has paid out more than $100 million, and not a single Missouri applicant has been refused.
It's now 6:05. If you're watching our live stream on YouTube, X, or Facebook, you can see the lightning strikes over my left shoulder with the American flag waving in the wind over the Soldiers Memorial Military Museum. Once again, we are in a severe thunderstorm watch until 9 a.m. Over the weekend, parking in downtown St. Louis encountered something new, and it runs through this Wednesday now. All parking lots owned by the city are not accepting cash. They want to see if a no-cash system can be implemented long-term.
Treasurer Adam Lane tells KMOX he would also like to consolidate how parking payments are made by getting the parking lots on the Park Louie app for metered parking.
My vision is to make parking something that people don't have to think about in St. Louis. So if there is one app that allows you to pay for any treasurer-owned lot, garage, or on-street option, that's great for mobility for folks in the region.
Lane says right now the city-owned lots are only accepting credit and debit cards. If they implement the system long-term, Lane wants to add Apple Pay and Google Pay.
Gas prices in the St. Louis region are down almost 14 cents compared to last week. Gas Buddy reports today's average gas price is $4.22 a gallon. Diesel down 15 cents at $5.44 a gallon. However, head of petroleum analysis Patrick DeHaan says the coast is anything but clear. He says prices have fallen due to potential ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran, but they started to climb again last night due to resuming Israeli attacks.
If you are still having problems getting your prescription filled at Walgreens, you're not alone. The trouble is affecting hundreds of customers, and it's not new. Maria Kina started reporting on this last July.
The pharmacy's open 9 a.m. to 6 p.m.
That's what they say, but when customers try to pick up their prescriptions during that time frame, almost always on Saturdays and Sundays, and during the week too, there is no pharmacist on duty. Customers drop off scripts, are told to come back later in the day, and the pharmacy is closed. Again, this is during normal business hours. This is not isolated to one Walgreens. It is at many, but an extremely problematic store seems to be Hampton and Chippewa. Last year, KMOX received hundreds of complaints, hoping for a solution, but that never came. If anything, the problem might be getting worse. Customers are frequently told they are out of commonly prescribed medications and they will order it, but some people say they've waited as long as 10 days. You might say, stop going to Walgreens, but that's not always possible for convenience reasons and because your insurance company requires you use Walgreens. KMOX will once again try to get some answers from Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway's office. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
From the KMOX Business Desk, the Clayton School District is moving ahead with planned upgrades worth $135 million. Construction will start early next year with a full renovation of the century-old Glen Ridge Elementary School and upgrades to Clayton High School, including a new learning lab and updates to the school's football stadium. The Business Journal reports the move comes after 86% of voters approved a proposition in April to authorize the funding without increasing property taxes in Clayton.
It is now 6:08. We're going to take a break here, and when we come back, we'll check the weather, of course, because we've got storms moving through, and it's pouring again in downtown St. Louis. And Roger Brand's got the latest on your ride in. Stay with us here on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Many of you know that my inspiration for becoming an accident attorney was my brother Tim, who was rendered a quadriplegic at age 18. I didn't know what a personal injury lawyer was or what they did, but I soon did. Tim was treated terribly by the insurance company, and I became enraged. It was a constant delay and deny. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Tim later worked with me for 27 years. Last year, my hero died at age 65. You can see my eulogy for him by visiting mybrothertim.com. He was one hell of a man. Because of Tim, together we built the largest injury firm in the world, and our clients are treated the way I would want my family to be treated. At Morgan & Morgan, nobody is a nobody and everybody is a somebody. If you need our help, visit forthepeople.com on your phone or computer. See you soon, Tim. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Injured? Dial #law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
I love a girls' weekend, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin, thanks to Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
You can usually find me in the kitchen, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm still in the mix with Skyrizi to treat my joint symptoms.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin when measured from head to toe at 4 months.
Or if you're an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It's 6:10. Let's check in with Roger Brand, overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, we still have this jam on southbound 61. There's a crash near the Big Creek before you get to Dietrich Road that had lane blockage. Traffic's jammed just south of Moscow Mills. The front end looks like it's opening up a little bit, but I know they had a lane block there. Of course, rain showers, heavy downpours are slowing traffic in a lot of places. 370, the Mills out to the Discovery and around El Newtown, both directions of Highway 70 between mostly 94 and the Rock Road. 270, both directions between Ladue and 70. And 364, you've got slow stuff across the bridges. Eastbound 64, they reported a rescue crash near Chesterfield Parkway East. It's probably a vehicle off the roadway. I can't see it, but the traffic is starting to bog down at Clarkson right now. And then 64 is rain slowed between Ballas and almost the Interbell. 270 down south. Northbound 55 up to Gravois busy. Northbound 55 north of Richardson all the way up to 270. Some heavier traffic. There's a slowdown from the Union up through Bayless and 4500 Broadway to Potomac as these showers move through the area. Next update at 6:20 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, a severe thunderstorm watch until 9 this morning. There'll be a couple of strong thunderstorms around early that can produce downpours, gusty winds, and even small hail. But later today, the clouds will break for some sun. It'll be rather humid, nothing more than a spotty late day or evening thunderstorm. Today's high 81. Patchy clouds later tonight, those 65. Tomorrow, more sun than clouds and pleasant with lower humidity, high 81. Wednesday, mostly sunny, high 82. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is pouring right now in downtown St. Louis. Thunderstorms moving through the area, 68 degrees right now.
Yeah, I moved the camera in my position here, so if you want to watch the show, it is right over my left shoulder. You can see right into downtown St. Louis with the trees moving and the lightning and the rain falling and coming down hard here downtown. It's 6:13, sports in 2 minutes. A 22-year-old man is being charged in connection with a home that exploded in Troy, Illinois in April, killing 3 people. Colton Sissel is being charged with 6 felonies, including 3 counts of involuntary manslaughter. Madison County investigators say Sissel carelessly and illegally stored explosive materials, traveled to pyrotechnics contests, and was in a club that made fireworks. According to the Post-Dispatch, Sissel was booked into the county jail in Edwardsville on Saturday.
We've told you about the break that led to detectives making an arrest in the 1993 killing of Randy Gale Sperino in Granite City. Today, the team is sharing how the case finally got solved more than 3 decades later.
Madison County Captain Tim Lawrence, the chief of detectives, takes issue with a phrase often used for cases like this one.
I'll be honest with you, I don't like the term cold case because it makes everybody think you're not working it. I like to call them unsolved. Well, we have investigators who look at these periodically. We have new eyes come in and put it on it. It's not something that ever gets forgotten.
Investigators say updated DNA work, genetic genealogy, and AI sorting through more than 2,000 pages of old case files broke this one open. A suspect has confessed.
The NCAA is facing a massive overhaul of their rules with a newly introduced bill.
The bipartisan Protect College Sports Act aims to essentially save the NCAA from itself, according to one of its biggest sponsors, U.S. Senator Eric Schmidt.
First is on governance. It says
You get liability immunity, you get antitrust exemption status for one-time transfer, 5 years of eligibility, making sure agents aren't ripping players off, the health and safety conditions for the players.
The second bucket, allowing the NCAA to collectively bargain with TV providers instead of each conference doing so themselves.
The NBA has half the audience of college football, but twice the revenue, about $8 billion. College football generates $4 billion. So it'd be like the NFC East negotiating their own deal, the AFC West negotiating their own deal. That doesn't maximize revenue. So this would allow them voluntarily to come together to negotiate with the rights holders.
Schmidt says this should create additional revenue, which could save sports that don't produce as much. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
There are some Mizzou officials in town today because the Tiger Club, the St. Louis chapter of the Mizzou Tiger Club, is having its golf tournament at Bogey Hills in St. Charles. It's going to be a little soggy out there with all this rain falling right now. Bob Costas will be the keynote speaker there this evening. Bob was in town for the Cardinals game. He was part of the NBC broadcast last night at Busch Stadium. Albert Pujols was on the analysis with Jason Benetti calling the action. On the radio side, we had John Rooney, Ricky Horton, and did they do a terrific job? First inning, it's Jordan Walker.
He's 0 for 7, a walk, a run scored, and a strikeout in the series. So he's due. A swing and a base hit to right field, 1-0 Cardinals. Walker hit the ball through the opening on the right side in between Horner and Bush, scoring J.J. Weatherholt.
Jordan Walker getting things started, and continuing on, it was Alec Burleson in the third.
He's ahead in the count, 2-1, and the pitch to him is hit towards the left side, towards the line. Long way to run for Happ, and he's not going to get it. It drops. Scoring from second is Weatherholt, and in the second with a double is Burleson. That ball was in the air a long time, but Happ had a long way to run. No one could get there. And it's 3-0 Cardinal.
That was a big one right there. This one was even bigger. Third inning, Mason Wynn.
2-1 pitch coming up, and that's hit into center field. Base hit for Mason Wynn. 1 run scores. Here comes another. Stumbling around third is Burleson, but he scores anyway. Wynn comes through. A 2-run single. And it's now 5-0 St. Louis.
Cardinals with a 5-run lead after 3 innings, and then they turn it over to the outstanding pitching. A pair of starters get it done for the Cardinals. Matthew Liberatore goes 5 1/3 scoreless, allowing just 3 hits, walked 1, struck out 4. And then Hunter Dobbins comes into the game, and he had just been called back up. 3 2/3 for Dobbins, 1 run on 4 hits, no walks, and 4 strikeouts, as the Cardinals get the win and they save their bullpen. Final score was 5-1. They win the series. Down to the field, Mike Claiborne.
Our player of the game this evening with his first big league save, Hunter Dobbins. Now, you were scheduled to pitch today in Memphis, but what's it like to pitch here in St. Louis tonight?
Oh, I mean, it's great to finally get out here, pitch in front of this crowd with these guys behind me. It's just great just finally being in this building and being able to get on the mound.
How about that crowd tonight?
Oh, they were awesome. All the way from the tarp soft section to the guys behind the dish. It's been fun, and that's getting to feel that in the 9th inning was a lot of fun.
What was working for you tonight? Because as I mentioned, you were scheduled to pitch this evening, but what was working for you here tonight?
Just mixing. Pedro had a great approach. I just trusted him, got up there, threw the ball, attacked. Offense gave us the lead, just went from there.
And now you're part of this Cardinal Cub rivalry. What's that like? Because I'm sure you've heard about it all these years this has been going on.
I mean, it's great to be a part of the rivalry, and that's a good ball club, but we're just going to keep on playing ball and hopefully keep winning some games.
Your first big league save, what do you think about that?
Just another box to check, and we'll just keep on rolling.
Hold on to that ball, my friend. It won't be the last.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
All right, Hunter Dobbins is our player of the game.
Cards win at 5-1. They win the series. They're in second place in the NL Central as they start play tonight against the Texas Rangers. That interleague matchup begins at 6:45 at Busch Stadium. Cardinals 4.5 back in the Central. Pirates and Cubs 5 back. Cincinnati 6 back. Again, all 5 teams in the NL Central winning records. That division here on June 1st, far and away the best in Major League Baseball. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years.
I'm done with this. Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career. Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Hi, Margaret with Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano. Our St. Louis Baseball Cardinals reset last season. Now they're planning for the long term. Have you thought about a long-term plan for your family? A will, a trust, powers of attorney? Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano can guide you with a personalized estate plan. Sign up for our free webinar on our website, yourestateMatters.com. Learn more about estate planning, get some answers, list your questions, then schedule a consultation. You can plan for your family, your favorite charities, taxes, your long-term care, and even your pets now, before the courts do it for you later. Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano, yourestateMatters.com.
The choice of an attorney is an important decision and shouldn't be based solely on advertising.
Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
621. This is Total Information AM. It is raining so hard in downtown St. Louis right now that visibility will be an issue if you are out and about. So just take it easy. Give yourself some extra time this morning and make sure you listen to Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still have our jam on southbound 61, unfortunately, Debbie. This traffic report's a service of Community America Credit Union. Southbound 61's jammed from Highway C in Moscow Mills all the way down to the Big Creek to almost Dietrich Road where we had that earlier crash. They're still out there dealing with it. Rains have moved through, so some places aren't as bad. 70 still slow. 94 through the Blanchette. They had a stall there earlier. 270 in North County, approaching Lindbergh around the bend to McDonald's, a little slow. Eastbound 64 still a jam. Chesterfield Parkway West to the east. Because of a vehicle off the roadway crash. We have an overturned vehicle crash on Saline Road at Ron Drive. There's an emergency crews there. There's storms are moving to the east, so 64 from 170 into downtown and 70 between 170 and downtown. Pretty slow right now because of the heavy downpours. Northbound 55 north of Richardson to the Merrimack. The right lane south of Butler Hill to 270. Bayless up across River to Pear and 45 North Broadway up to 44 is all pretty slow. Next update is 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Community America Credit Union helps you and me, shortstop Mason, win. So win big. Cash back, free checking, win. No service fees or minimum balance, win. So yeah, you really can win with Community America. So can I. That's a win-win.
Well, we are really getting it downtown right now and really throughout the St. Louis area. If we think we're getting a strong rain right now, wait till you see the next 20 minutes downtown. When does it end? Not anytime soon. This is a severe thunderstorm watch until 9 o'clock, says Joe Lundberg. Strong thunderstorms through this morning rush that can produce downpours, gusty winds, and small hail. Looks like we're getting it all right now downtown. Later today, clouds break for some sunshine, humid, spotty late day or evening thunderstorm. A high today of 81, low tonight 65 with humidity. Tomorrow, less humid, a high of 81 degrees. Rain in 68 downtown right now.
The news continues at 6:23. A former St. Louis public school official is going to prison. We get more from KMOX's Michael Calhoun.
Ian Roberts, who later became superintendent in Des Moines, was sentenced on Friday to 2 years on federal gun and immigration charges. Prosecutors say he was living in the country illegally, lied about his citizenship to get hired, and had 4 guns. He'll likely be deported to Guyana when he's released.
Harris-Stowe State University may join the movement as other Missouri colleges raise the cost of tuition. The move comes 2 weeks after the University of Missouri system announced a 5% tuition increase for undergraduates. KMOX's Jade Aubrey talked with Harris-Stowe president Dr. LaTanya Collins-Smith about that announcement.
What we know is maintaining affordability. One of the things about Harris Stowe's mission has always been centered on access, opportunity, and upward mobility for students who may otherwise be underserved by higher education. And for us, our university has always had to balance financial realities, but also preserving the affordability and access. What we know is that many universities are increasing tuition because operational costs continue to rise, along with just when we talk about those operational costs, that's faculty salaries, utilities, the technology infrastructure, student services, and then just overall compliance requirement. And inflation has significantly impacted higher education in general in more recent years. And so what universities nationwide are doing, they're reevaluating their funding models, and so is Harris Stowe. But we're also trying to juggle affordability and accessibility too, making sure that accessibility remains part of our university's identity and our responsibility as a public HBCU. However, much like most of the universities that you've seen here locally and around the state, increasing their tuition, Harris Stowe this year will also be increasing our tuition as well. And so it hasn't been voted on by our board, but it will be voted on next week. It has already been presented to our student body and our campus community, and the next step is for it to go to the board.
Talking a little bit more about the increasing funding issues, what's mainly driving this? What are the big issues that universities are facing and they have to up tuition?
I think, like I said, the overall increasing operational costs. When you look at faculty salaries, when you look at utilities, which everyone is facing, even in your own household. When you look at staying current with innovation, technology infrastructure, overall student services, and also the cost for compliance requirements that are accreditation and all kinds of other things to make sure that your university is continue to be compliant with requirements for higher education. I would say inflation has significantly impacted higher education budgets in more recent years. Those are some of the reasons why universities nationwide are reevaluating what their funding model looks like.
And I'm assuming that universities are expending all our other options, so they have to increase tuition. Is that the case at Harris Stowe?
Yeah, that is the case for us. The other thing, too, Harris Stowe is an HBCU. And so what we know about HBCUs, they have historically been underfunded compared to other peer institutions. But despite those resource disparities, HBCUs consistently produce strong outcomes in education, leadership, and in the STEM field.
That's Harris Stowe President Dr. LaTanya Collins-Smith speaking with KMOX's Jade Aubrey.
It is now 6:27, and the time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Beat the heat in true Cardinals style on Friday, June 5th, when the Cardinals host the Cincinnati Reds at Busch Stadium. That night, fans will claim a reversible Cardinals bucket hat, presented by Quick Trip. Clean and classic on one side, full ballpark fun on the other. It's made for sunny innings, backyard barbecues, and poolside weekends. All summer long, don't miss out. Get tickets now at cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Andre Palante. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com.
The weekend starts here. Grab your crew and kick it off at Friday Night Live at Busch Stadium. Every Friday night home game, Budweiser Terrace turns into the hottest happy hour in the Lou with $5 beers, $5 hot dogs, $7 margaritas, live music, and more all game long. Meet up with friends, soak in the energy, and keep the night going with baseball under the lights. Good vibes, great deals, your new Friday tradition. Get tickets now at cardinals.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for buying gas. That's right. You can earn cash back with Upside just for buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside, and just last year, I made nearly $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get cash back? If you like extra cash, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back when you fill your tank. Use promo code FRESH to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
Renewal by Andersen is the #1 window and door brand for customer service. Schedule your free inspection today. Call 877-WINDOWS. That's 877-WINDOWS. Or head to rbastl.com.
It is 6:30 and it continues to pour, and I hear rumbles of thunder as well in downtown St. Louis. It's 68 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Roger Brand is in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, good news. They cleared that crash we had southbound 61 at the Big Creek Ford Dietrich Road. Traffic is opening up just south of Highway U, but it is jammed back a little north of Moscow Mills. So still a pretty significant backup if you're headed that way right now. Eastbound 70, 94 through the Blanchette Bridge. They were working with a stall there, so it's still pretty bogged down at that point. Eastbound 64, it looks like they just cleared or trying to clear a crash near Research Park. Traffic's backed up as you come around the bend from 94. Then it's still backed up approaching Clarkson up through Chesterfield Parkway East. Left lane's blocked by that crash. I can finally see that one. One of our CamWest commuters said heavy standing water on the parkway underneath 170 or at 170. Starting to maybe have a vehicle stranded in it, but it's definitely slowing folks down for sure. At that spin out crash in the left lane, eastbound 44 before Big Bend, a little heavy there. North 270. Tesson Ferry up through Gravois slow, Doherty Ferry up through Manchester, and then around Clayton Road. Since these storms are moving through, the highways aren't looking quite as bad, but still busy. North 55, north of Richardson up to the Merrimack from about 4,500 Broadway all the way up through 44 in downtown. 70 still getting the brunt of it, so Cool Valley all the way over to the Musial Veterans Bridge, and on 64 starting to see delays from 25th Street to the Poplar. Next update is 640 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather-wise, it is a severe thunderstorm watch in effect through 9 this morning. So we're going to have storms rolling through. But once that's over, we'll have clouds breaking for some sun. It's going to be a humid day, maybe a spotty late day or evening thunderstorm. Our high today, 81. It's 68 right now.
It's 6:32. The city of St. Louis is continuing to modernize their zoning. But what does that mean for historic districts? Concerns were brought to KMOX from residents of the Compton Heights Historic District who worry the zoning laws could allow developers to tear down houses at the entrance on South Grand and replace them with 5-story tall apartments.
Alderwoman Daniela Velasquez says this is false, and like with the current zoning, the historic district rules blocking those kind of developments from easily happening take priority. She adds there is still plenty of time for concerned residents to make their voices heard.
This is the first draft. People are talking about a May 31st deadline. It's the first draft. Will be many drafts. And what we're looking into a process that won't be complete till at least a year from now. 12 to 18 months is probably more realistic.
Alderwoman Velasquez adds the new zoning laws will not force existing homes and businesses to uproot and move to fit the update.
The Pew Research Center is out with a new report exploring which hot-button topics American churchgoers say they hear about from their clergy.
Most Americans say at least one political or social issue has come up from the pulpit in the past month.
And abortion, Israel, and homosexuality are among the top of that list.
Pew senior researcher Becca Alper.
Among the most commonly cited is abortion at 35%. And among the least commonly cited is hearing their clergy speak about people who are transgender at 23%.
Alper says about 1 in 10 regular attendees say they have recently heard their clergy speak in opposition to the U.S. military action in Iran, while 4% say their religious leaders have spoken in support of it. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. It's 6:33.
Chris Ronchi, Amy Mark Scores. The Chris and Amy Show. It's not the same old talk. It's fresh, it's different, and it's local. Chris and Amy dig into the news that matters, but they also keep it light, keep it fun, and keep you smiling. Serious when it needs to be, silly when it can be. That's pure entertainment with a local heartbeat. The Chris and Amy Show, weekdays at 9 on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-922-1284. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-922-1284. 800-922-1284. 800-922-1284.
6:35, your Money Minute, sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
This is Bloomberg Money Minute. It's the first major purchase for Berkshire Hathaway since the retirement of legendary investor Warren Buffett last year. Berkshire will buy Taylor Morrison Home for about $6.8 billion. Taylor Morrison is one of the largest community developers and home builders in the U.S. Turning to trading, the S&P 500 has gained for 9 straight weeks, jumping nearly 20% from the low it reached in March. On Friday, the Dow rose 363 points, lifted by hopes of a truce between the U.S. and Iran. This morning, traders are continuing to watch developments in the Middle East. S&P futures are up 14 points, Dow futures rising 100. And Ford shifting gears. Shares of the automaker recorded their best monthly gain in May in 17 years. Ford's newfound status as a possible beneficiary of the artificial intelligence boom has sparked an investor frenzy. Ford surged 44% last month. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
The Missouri Athletic Club, mac-stl.org. The Missouri Athletic Club, not one, not two, but 3 locations in the St. Louis area now. In fact, my daughter said, you know what? I want to see MAC Clayton. I'm like, well, all right, let's go have lunch there this week. We're going to go do that. The Missouri Athletic Club has it. In fact, I haven't been there in about a week or a couple weeks now. I need to get back in there. Went there for the grand opening, for the ribbon cutting, and took a group in there for some cocktails after dinner one couple weeks ago. It's great. It really is. The MAC Clayton's an awesome spot. It's in the Pierre Laclede Center for our members and guests. The top 2 floors, 2 of the top 2 floors there, 14th and 15th floors. It's really a great spot, overlooks Forest Park. You can see downtown from up there. Of course, there's the traditional downtown clubhouse, the big building at 405 Washington Avenue, where we have so much activity. And summer means the pool at the MAC West and all of the fun that happens there. The swim team is getting ready to get going here, and all of the racket sports and fun times to be had at the Missouri Athletic Club. MAC-STL.org.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Norm Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's crawfordbutts.com.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Get inside your Redbirds in the 2026 season every Tuesday at noon. It's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol on your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
It is 6:40. It's still raining in downtown St. Louis, so give yourself some extra time. It may be pouring where you are as well. More on the weather in just a moment with our AccuWeather meteorologist, but let's take a look at these wet roadways with Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, it's certainly busy out there this morning, Debbie. This traffic report's a service of Choruses of Harmony, STL. Southbound 61, you still have a jam right as you hit Moscow Mills down through Highway U, about midway down from there to the Big Creeks where it opens up from that earlier crash. Then it's slow again. Wentzville Parkway down onto 64. 64 backed up from Highway K to Research Park. There was a spin-out crash there. Left lane's blocked for that crash near Chesterfield Parkway East. It's jammed at Chesterfield Parkway West. Eastbound 44, just east of Antire, there's a crash with lane blockage. I think that was into the median wall as well. There's a jam approaching Antire on eastbound 44 right now. Northbound 270, north of 55 to 44, and then north of Big Bend up through Manchester, and then 64 to Ladue, kind of busy. Southbound south of Olive to Ladue is slow. Northbound 55, approaching 141 or north of Richardson to the Merrimack's heavy. After that, it's not so bad. 70 still has a couple of spots coming into the city, but it's not as bad as it was. And westbound 64 looks better just on the Poplar. It's busy, and eastbound through 255 is a little slow in that work zone. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Harmony STL presents Now Playing, featuring the ambassadors of Harmony, Visions of Harmony, the Recruits, and Fleet Street performing the hits that shape generations. Saturday, June 13th, 2 p.m., Two Hill Performing Arts Center. Get your tickets at harmonystl.com.
It is raining downtown, but Joe Lundberg, not like it was about 10 minutes ago. Wow.
We could barely see out the window a few minutes ago.
We've picked up almost an inch of rain just in the last 40 minutes. I mean, that's how hard it's raining. The good news is the heaviest of the rain is now east of the city, Metro East, and we're moving quickly away. We're still going to see some rain and some thunder and lightning, but probably no more severe weather. They have not canceled the severe thunderstorm watch at this point in time, but I think the threat of severe weather has pretty much come to an end at this point in time. Just downpours for the next hour or two. By the time we get to 9 o'clock, most all the rain is done, and then it dries out with clouds breaking for some sun. A humid feel to the day with a spotty late-day thunderstorm, the high 81. Patchy clouds later tonight, mid-60s. More sunshine tomorrow, less humidity. Should be a gorgeous day with a high of 81. More the same Wednesday, mostly sunny, the high 82. Partly sunny, a little warmer Thursday, the high 87. Some sunshine Friday, but maybe a thunderstorm or two, the high Friday, 87. Right now it's down to 66 at St. Peter's, 65 in Florissant, raining 70 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, thanks, Joe. It is now 6:42, and there are new questions about President Trump's so-called anti-weaponization fund. A federal judge essentially reopening the president's initial lawsuit against the IRS, investigating allegations of fraud surrounding the settlement of that case. ABC News Washington managing editor Catherine Falders.
This decision from this judge came after 35 former federal judges filed and they asked the judge who oversaw this, they asked her to reopen the case. These judges alleged that Trump's efforts in terms of suing himself, suing the federal government, they said that this amounted to serious misconduct. The judges alleged that Trump is abusing the federal court system here. So the judge, in a short 4-page order over the weekend, said that, okay, she would consider it.
President Trump is now set to headline the opening ceremony of the Great American State Fair June 24th. The event, organized by Freedom 250, is scheduled to take place on the National Mall as part of America's 250th anniversary celebration. But it is facing setbacks, with the majority of musicians slated to perform pulling out. ABC's Allison Kosick.
Despite President Trump's involvement, Interior Secretary Doug Burgum insists the fair is a nonpartisan event, telling CNN's State of the Union.
I can't wade into the politics of musicians because, some musicians want to play music for everybody, and some musicians seem to have segmented their audiences the same way, politicians have.
The president responding to the cancellations on social media, floating the idea of scrapping the entire 16-day event with a Make America Great Again rally instead.
Organizers tell ABC News the fair is not being canceled. Instead, they are adding the president's opening ceremony on June 24th, one day before the fair is set to begin.
Data from Moody's Analytics shows the typical household is spending nearly $450 more on fuel-related expenses since the war with Iran began. That may be changing. ABC's Karen Hua.
Optimism surrounding a deal has helped push gas prices lower in the last week, dropping 18 cents per gallon, according to AAA, now averaging $4.33. Trump administration officials argue while gas prices are still high, Americans are seeing economic benefits elsewhere, including lower egg prices and wages that are ticking higher.
Dobbins from the stretch. The 1-2 pitch with 2 outs. A high fly ball, and that's hit to deep right center field. Moving back, Scott on the track. He has it for a Redbird winner. Light up the night in downtown St. Louis. The Cardinals have won 2 out of 3, taking the series from the Cubs, finishing them off tonight 5-1.
John Rooney with the call on KMOX last night. The Cardinals win the series, bouncing back after getting swept by the Brewers. They jump on the Cubs early and hold them off with some good pitching last night from Matthew Liberatore and Hunter Dobbins. Everything went exactly as planned. The Cardinals called up Dobbins yesterday. They used him as a backup to Liberatore, and they got exactly what they wanted. Liberatore 5 1/3 scoreless. He allowed just 3 hits, walked 1, struck out 4. They brought Dobbins in, and he took care of business. 3 2/3 for Dobbins. A run on 4 hits, no walks, and 4 Ks. First save of Dobbins' career. Liberatore gets the win, and the Cardinals win 2 out of 3. They're in second place in the NL Central, 4.5 back. Bob Costas was on the broadcast last night on NBC. I spoke with him on Sports on a Sunday Morning about this youth movement.
Well, normally when a team announces, either directly or implicitly, we're in a rebuilding phase, that means we ain't going to win for a while. Now, I'm not sure, none of us are, what the standings will look like come the end of September. But right now, the Cardinals are not just a competitive team, but they're an energetic and appealing team, the kind of team that St. Louis fans will get behind. And as you know, because you're here day to day, over the last few years, it wasn't just that the Cardinals weren't as competitive as they generally are, but there was a lack of life and verve. They weren't really a rewarding team to follow, and that's unusual in St. Louis. And when Cardinal fans begin not to show up, it takes a lot. You know, it's not like Philadelphia or other places where they get triggered pretty easily. Cardinal fans are pretty patient and pretty reasonable, but many of them had not necessarily turned on the team, but they turned away. They weren't as engaged as they generally have been. I think this year's team has brought many of them back.
Also on the show, President of Baseball Operations Chaim Bloom, who is willing to take the heat. He'll take questions from the audience, including those who are wondering why Nolan Gorman is still getting an opportunity.
He's in the middle of a tough stretch right now. You know, whether being out in front of the changeup, being a little behind on the fastball, the proverbial in between. So, you know, we need to help him get out of that. You obviously want, like I've said this a few times, we've talked about it. You want there to be natural competition, right? You want guys to push each other for opportunity because we are only allowed to put 9 of them out there at once. And so you want that competition to come from within. What we don't want to have happening is that we ever throw up our hands and say, we got to give up on this guy. That's not the approach we're going to take in this organization.
The Cardinals and the Rangers tonight, 6:45 first pitch for Michael McGreevy. Look who he's facing, Jacob deGrom. That'll be a heck of a matchup tonight. That's at 6:45, pregame at 5:50 on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX. Who's Hot, Who's Not, sponsored by St. Louis Composting, growing gardens and making memories. St. Louis Composting is making memories for many people in the St. Louis area with mulch, soil, compost, and making their yards look better than they've ever been. I can tell you, we get comments on our color enhanced dark walnut mulch that we put in our yard. Everything looks really good in our yard right now. People are like, gosh, your backyard looks great. Well, what they don't realize is that the mulch makes everything pop. Mulch makes everything look better. Mulch is a decorative and protective cover. They place it over soil to conserve moisture. It also inhibits weed growth and it lessens damage to plants caused by extreme temperatures. And we all know we get extreme temperatures here in the St. Louis area. St. Louis Composting has a variety of mulches you can choose from. You can just go to stlcompost.com to look through it. You can have it delivered or you can pick it up in any of their 9 locations, stlcompost.com. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, making memories.
Meet me at the Muni in Forest Park.
Muni tickets for 2026 are on sale now, featuring Hairspray, Shrek the Musical, South Pacific, Disney's Newsies, Ain't Too Proud, The Life and Times of the Temptations, Meet Me in St. Louis, and Something Rotten. Choose your seats now at muni.org.
Meet me at the Muni in Forest Park.
Get ready for a night back with legendary hits and non-stop energy.
I got my first real 6-string.
Bryan Adams is bringing the Roll with a Bunches tour to Enterprise Center Friday, July 24th.
Hello, this is Bryan Adams.
Sing along to the classics as Bryan Adams delivers an unforgettable night of rock anthems. Plus, special guests Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo. Bryan Adams, July 24th. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX. Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
It is 6:51. Let's get you the very latest on traffic and weather as we have some strong storms and lots of rain moving through just in time for the morning rush hour. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, it's kind of busy out there, Debbie, unfortunately. This traffic reports the service of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Southbound 61 still jamming right at Highway C in Moscow Mills, most of the way down to Highway U due to an earlier crash we had at the Big Creek, then Wentzville Parkway down on the 64 pockets through Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Eastbound 64, a brief jam through K. They cleared that crash at Research Park. They cleared the crash east of Clarkson. If you're on eastbound Highway 70 from Lake St. Louis in through Bryan Road's a little slow. After that, there's a little heavy pocket right at the main terminal of the airport. We have a crash westbound 70 downtown near Adelaide. Traffic's backed up pretty close to Salisbury. A crash eastbound 364 before Bennington. Traffic's backed up to the Amiot overpass. Northbound 270 slow. Tesson Ferry most of the way to 44. Big Bend most of the way up to Ladue. South 270 Olive down to 64 is busy. Westbound 64 Hampton through Bellevue. A couple of slow spots. 55 south of 141 to the Merrimack. Kind of slow. Westbound 64 looks a lot better. Just heavy on the Poplar. Go over at Door Company of St. Louis for their 26-point tune-up. It's one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Always look for the genuine, the original red ribbon of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. Next update is 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather forecast from Joe Lundberg, a severe thunderstorm watch until 9 a.m. We just talked to Joe, and he said it looks like the bad stuff is through downtown by now, but boy, are we getting some rain in the St. Louis area right now. It is all over the place, and it's going to stay that way until probably 9-10. It should be completely out of here, but right now we're looking at rain across the St. Louis area. Just one look at the radar sees the heaviest rain in Belleville down to Waterloo, Illinois, So the heavy rain is south and east of downtown St. Louis, but not out of the woods yet. There's still a lot of rain falling out in Warrenton along I-70, and it's going to move its way slowly through the area. And again, I'd say looks like by around 9:30, 10 o'clock, everything is out of the St. Louis metro area. But for right now, we have rain and 68 downtown at the Arch. As for tonight, a low of 65 after an 81-degree high with humidity today, and tomorrow less humid with a high of 81. It's 6:53.
And the news continues on Total Information AM. A new Pew survey finds churchgoers hear about a wide range of political and social issues from the pulpit.
Most Americans say at least one political or social issue has come up from the pulpit in the past month, with abortion, Israel, and homosexuality topping the list. Pew senior researcher Becca Alper.
And when people do hear their clergy speak about these topics, they report that they tend to hear more about opposing abortion than supporting abortion rights, opposing homosexuality than encouraging acceptance of people who are gay or lesbian, supporting Israel than criticizing it, the need to welcome and support immigrants than the need for stricter immigration enforcement, protecting the environment than opposing environmental regulations, opposing transgender identity than accepting people who are transgender. And then they hear more of a mix when it comes to U.S. military action in Iran.
Despite that, Alper says many Americans are not sure whether the leaders of their congregations are Republicans or Democrats. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers says the swim beach at Ants Creek Campground on Table Rock Lake is closed until further notice after routine testing found higher than acceptable E. coli levels. Ozark First reports park rangers will reopen the beach when follow-up tests show bacteria levels are back within an acceptable range.
4 peregrine falcon chicks got some new jewelry. The Missouri Department of Conservation posting pictures on Facebook over the weekend of the fuzzy baby falcons being fitted with leg bands. Each has a unique number that allows conservation officials to track the birds once they leave the nest, which the department says will be in about 20 days.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your birthday.
There's a drive. That's hit to deep left field. It's a gunner for Herrera. 5-4 Cardinals.
Happy birthday, Ivan Herrera. The Cardinals slugger is 26 today.
The birthday shout out is sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back. Happy 29th to Andrew Adams from Grandma and Grandpa Adams. Sister Judy McKenna is celebrating. So is Odyssey's own Paige Kluge, Nate Gatter, and Joe Raftery.
This is the best birthday ever.
Circus Sports, sports betting the way it should be, circusports.com. Or you can go to the Circus Sports app and download it to your phone. Easy to use. I'm so happy that Circus Sports is so easy to use. It makes it that much better. Sports betting the way it should be. It should be easy. It should be very easy. It should be about player-friendly pricing. It should be about exceptional customer service. And for some, high betting limits. They like that. Sports betting the way it should be. Baseball, basketball, hockey, all going strong right now. So Circa Sports is the place to be. They have it all. If you're looking for playoff futures, Circa Sports. Props on your favorite players and more, Circa Sports has you covered. Download the Circa Sports app or visit circusports.com today. Circa Sports, sports betting the way it should be. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problems? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fira Capital Management for Your Retirement Highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
Listen up. If you have not paid self-employment, business, or individual taxes in years, the IRS will find you. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. I offer real solutions. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Story, today and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. At the Lance Story Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Call 314-260-6120 or visit LanceDruryLaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Here is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, we got a crash on Highway 70 eastbound just before 79. Looks like left lane's blocked. Traffic is also slow from Lake St. Louis Boulevard in through Bryan Road. Southbound 61, pretty well back on track. Just a brief backup at Moscow Mills. After that is, there's a couple of slowdowns like south of U down to W, and then a couple of pockets P down onto 64, but it's just slow, not jammed. Once you get on to 64, there's a little heavy traffic east of Boone's Crossing, but it looks good east of there. Southbound 270 is bogged down from Olive to 64. North 270 from Tesson Ferry most of the way to 44, and then Big Bend up to Manchester is the busiest part there. We're working, it looks like a crash in the left lane eastbound 364 before Bennington. Traffic's jammed back onto the Creve Coeur Lake Bridge, and it's standing water. The left lane is flooded westbound 70 before Adelaide. Traffic is jammed back through Salisbury, so be careful coming through downtown because of that. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. U.S. Central Command says it conducted self-defense strikes inside Iran over the weekend, saying it was in response to aggressive Iranian actions, including the shooting down of a U.S. drone over international waters. One big question, whether Israel's attacks on Lebanon are included in the overall ceasefire. Arrests outside the ICE detention center in Newark, where ABC's Phil Tate says an overnight curfew has just been lifted.
Police were in riot gear, the mountain unit on scene to enforce the curfew, ending with a few dozen arrests.
Having worked with New Jersey State Police and local law enforcement, I know how well trained they are, the best in the nation.
New Jersey Governor Sherrill, over the weekend, defended her decision to send in state police after they learned ICE was preparing to surge officers into the state to support the ongoing immigration crackdown.
3 Democratic senators introducing a bill that would halt President Trump's anti-weaponization fund and prevent taxpayer dollars from being used for it. This is ABC News. A Utah judge is set to decide today whether to bar reporters and the public from parts of a key upcoming hearing in the case of the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk. Tyler Robinson's defense has asked the judge to restrict access to the preliminary hearing on July 6th and to seal some evidence in the case. His defense team says the jury pool could be tainted. Growing excitement about a new treatment for pancreatic cancer that could open the door to other cancer treatments.
It's called daraxonrasib, and according to the results of a clinical trial, it can double a patient's survival time. In the trial of 500 patients with advanced pancreatic cancer, the drug reduced the overall risk of death by 60% compared to patients who had only chemotherapy. And those who took the drug lived substantially longer, for an average of 13 months compared to about 6.5 months for those who only had chemo. Another benefit, it's a daily pill instead, with fewer side effects reported.
That's ABC's Sophie Flay. I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
It is 7:02, and we still have rain in downtown St. Louis. Storms moving through the area at 69 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. In fact, let's update you on that right now and look at what's happening with this weather. So if you are listening to us south of St. Louis, you are getting some heavy rain and thunderstorm activity right now, everywhere from Farmington to St. Genevieve into Sparta, Illinois, just north Redbud, Waterloo, heavy rain, thunderstorm activity. A little bit lighter in Belleville now, although still seeing some heavy rain in that area. O'Fallon, Collinsville, downtown St. Louis, still a steady amount of rain. The rain will let up, but it's going to be a couple of hours before it all gets through. Still some heavy rain in the St. Louis area. St. Charles also getting rain. And then to the north of us, Jerseyville, Carlinville into Litchfield, Illinois. Some heavy, heavy rain in the St. Louis area. Roger Brand just talked about some ponding, a little bit of flooding areas. So just keep an eye out for that. There are no flood warnings right now. We are in a severe thunderstorm watch until further notice. That last check from Joe Lundberg was until 9 a.m.
Why are universities across Missouri increasing tuition?
Operational costs continue to rise. Inflation has significantly impacted higher education in general in more recent years. And so what universities nationwide are doing, they're reevaluating their funding models, and so is Harris Stowe.
Although they haven't increased tuition costs in 7 years, Harris Stowe President Dr. LaTanya Collins-Smith says the university board will be voting on a 5% increase this week. She says those rising operational costs include
faculty salaries. When you look at utilities, which everyone is facing, even in your own household. When you look at staying current with innovation, technology infrastructure, overall student services.
If the tuition raise is passed, Harris Stowe will join the University of Missouri system in raising tuition costs this fall for undergraduate students by 5%. Jade Aubrey, KMOX News.
It's not clear how Walgreens pharmacies are continuing to operate. The problems of not having pharmacies on duty, not having the pharmacy open during normal business hours, not keeping medications stocked, all signal a larger problem.
KMOX started investigating back in July of last year after receiving hundreds of complaints from Walgreens customers. Stores closed, being told they do not have a medication in stock.
Your prescription has been partially filled. If you need this medication today, stop by the pharmacy. Otherwise, we'll let you know once it's completely filled.
But don't count on that either. It might take 3 or 4 times of receiving only a few pills at a time before it's completely filled. And don't forget not being open during normal business hours, even when you're told to pick up your medications.
Hi, this is Walgreens. We see you have a prescription order, but your pharmacy is temporarily closed. For updates or to find an open pharmacy, go to walgreens.com.
Temporarily frequently turns out to be the entire weekend, even though they say they are open until 6 p.m. Walgreens has never returned KMOX's calls. KMOX is once again reaching out to the Attorney General, Catherine Hanaway's office. They told us last year when Andrew Bailey was the AG that people needed to file complaints with his office. They did, but no investigation was launched. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
University City Council members are debating the future of the police department's automated license plate readers.
I oppose any further dealings with flock safety. We know what could happen, and that is the whole point.
The license plate tech comes from Flock Safety. It tracks passing vehicles and compares them against law enforcement databases. During a study session, Councilman John Tiemann voiced concerns over who might ultimately access that data.
My singular focus has been to protect our neighbors who are immigrants. If we have further relations with Flock, our data, in fact, our town, could be used to further some of the most immoral immigration policies in our lifetime. We know this can happen.
Company representatives pushed back against the claim that their systems are used for deportations. Public Affairs Representative Holly Boleyn told the council local police have full control over what searches are allowed. She also addressed a previous controversial partnership with the feds.
We have no contracts with ICE. There was a pilot program with Homeland Security investigations. That is under the Department of Homeland Security. It was for about 4 months. It was for the purpose of human trafficking and narcotics trafficking.
University City Police have utilized Flock cameras since 2019. The mayor stressed that this meeting was strictly an informational update. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
It's 7:07. Gas prices in the St. Louis region are down almost 14 cents compared to last week. Gas Buddy reporting today's average gas price $4.22 a gallon. Diesel down 15 cents at $5.44 a gallon. However, Head of Petroleum Analysis Patrick DeHaan says the coast is anything but clear. He says prices have fallen due to the potential ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran, but they started to climb again last night due to resuming Israeli attacks.
It started Friday. It goes through this Wednesday. Downtown St. Louis is only taking cash to park.
Cash will not be accepted in parking lots owned and operated by the city's treasury during Cardinals games through Wednesday. Treasurer Adam Lane tells KMOX this will be done to collect data ahead of a potential move to going entirely cashless.
The majority of folks are paying with card. We want to see what it would look like to actually make a full transition. So we're testing it out.
Lane says about 70% of people who park in their lots pay with card currently. He adds going cashless can help his office run more efficiently.
It does make the bookkeeping a lot easier if we go to card only. It also is less stress on our personnel.
He says this can be because it's hard to find seasonal work to make the cash transactions in the lots happen, and they've had to close lots or bring office staff out to operate them in the past. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
It's 7:08, traffic and weather next.
This is Jordan Walker. Celebrate Black Heritage Day, presented by your quality Ford dealers on Sunday, June 28th at Busch Stadium. This special culture and community event honors the impact, history, and legacy of the Black community in baseball and beyond. With a special themed ticket, you'll receive an exclusive Cardinals jersey designed by Corey Rogers. And don't miss a special heritage celebration in Budweiser Terrace before the game. Details and tickets at cardinals.com/theme.
The weekend starts at Busch Stadium. Grab your crew and kick it off at Friday Night Live. Every Friday night home game, Budweiser Terrace turns into the hottest happy hour in the Lou. With $5 beers, $5 hot dogs, $7 margaritas, live music, and more all game long. Meet up with friends, soak in the energy, and keep the night going with baseball under the lights. Good vibes, great deals, your new Friday tradition. Get tickets now at cardinals.com.
Giddy up! It's the Cardinal Cowboy. Is your garage door past its prime? Get a free repair or replacement quote from Renner Garage Door. Renner is America's oldest family-owned garage door company that serves both wholesale and retail markets. Right now, get $100 off a new garage door when you mention this ad. With trusted brands like Delden, Amar, LiftMaster, you know it's built to win. Renters also hire experienced techs and installers. RennerDoorSTL.com. Forward and back.
RENNER, RENNER. Hi, this is Congresswoman Ann Wagner from Missouri's 2nd District. I work every day to put more money in your pocket, secure the border, protect our shared Missouri values, and keep our communities safe. Whether it's visiting one of my public events in neighborhoods around the district or by contacting my office, I want to hear from you. If you need help with a federal agency, please contact me at wagner.house.gov.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is 7:10, and we should check in with Roger Brand. It's been a wet, sloppy commute this morning, and at times hard to see. It's been raining so hard in places. Roger's in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, we've got some problems out there because of that weather. No surprise, I guess, Debbie. But if you're on southbound 61, first of all, looks like we may have an incident just north of Highway P. It's jammed about midway back to W. Once you get around it, Wentzville Parkway down onto 64 at about the Boulevard slow. We have a jam both ways on 70 coming through 79. There's a crash west of 79, blocking the left lane. Westbound 70 is jammed at 79, but eastbound 70 is jammed back past Highway K. Downtown westbound 70, that left lane's flooded right before Adelaide, so traffic's jammed back through Salisbury. Eastbound 364, still working that crash in the left lane before Bennington. Traffic's jammed onto the Creve Coeur Lake Bridge. Southbound 141, midway between 364 and Olive, there's an injury crash. Only I guess it's the right lane, looks like, getting through. It's jammed back to 364. Northbound 270, 55 up through Gravois and Doherty Ferry all the way to Ladou's busy. South 270, Olive to Ladou is slow, still working this crash. I think it's in the left lane. Eastbound 44 east of Antire, traffic is jamming east of 109 to that one. Northbound 55, approaching Butler Hill or North of Merrimack bottom up to 270 is slow. And on the Illinois side, westbound 64 around 159, and then a crash eastbound 64 east of 255 and a short jam up there. Next update is 720 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We have a severe thunderstorm watch until 9 this morning. There'll be a couple of strong thunderstorms in the area through the morning rush that can produce downpours, gusty winds, and small hail. Then it quiets down later today with some sunshine returning. It'll be rather humid, just a chance of a late afternoon or evening thunderstorm, the high 81. Patchy clouds overnight, low 65. More sunshine tomorrow, a nice day with lower humidity, high 81. For Wednesday, mostly sunny, high 82. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Right now we have rain, 69 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It is now 7:12. St. Louis police arresting 2 people over the weekend, confiscating several weapons. Anti-crime force detectives and Metro Air Support spotted a car driving erratically. It was stopped in the 700 block of North 17th Street. Police found several illegally modified firearms, including auto sear switches, converting the gun to fully automatic. They also seized a ghost gun.
A 22-year-old man is being charged in connection with a home that exploded in Troy, Illinois in April, killing 3 people. Colton Sissel is being charged with 6 felonies, including 3 counts of involuntary manslaughter. Madison County investigators say Sissel carelessly and illegally stored explosive materials, traveled to pyrotechnics contests, and was in a club that made fireworks. According to the Post-Dispatch, Sissel was booked into the county jail in Edwardsville on Saturday.
The city of St. Louis is continuing to modernize their zoning, but what does that mean for historic districts? Concerns were brought to KMOX from residents of the Compton Heights Historic District, who worry the zoning laws could allow developers to tear down homes at the entrance on South Grand and replace them with 5-story tall apartments. Alderwoman Daniela Velasquez says this is not true.
This is the first draft. People are talking about a May 31st deadline. It's the first draft. Will be many drafts, and what we're looking to a process that won't be complete till at least a year from now. 12 to 18 months is probably more realistic.
St. Charles County wants a corporate name on its riverfront arena, and it's far from alone.
The Family Arena.
County leaders are in talks with headhunting firms to sell naming rights to Family Arena, the 10,000-seat venue that opened in 1998. A recent $13 million renovation upgraded the building from top to bottom. The push mirrors moves at major universities across the bi-state area. Mizzou is seeking a naming rights partner for Faurot Field in Columbia, and the University of Illinois renamed its own Memorial Stadium last fall after a $100 million gift from a donor. That decision sparked a legislative challenge from State Rep Steve Reich, who says the university even shut down his efforts to reverse it.
Memorial Stadium has always stood as a promise to those whose names are inscribed on its columns, which should be the only names permanently associated with the structure and should not be changed for the sake of sponsorship.
Reich's resolution calling for the name to be restored sits in the Rules Committee, blocked from a 4 vote. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
With Ricky Gordon, I'm John Rooney. The Cardinals won 2 out of 3 over the weekend against the Cubs. Didn't play well on Saturday, but played well last night and won the Sunday night game of the world 5-1.
Pitching was really good for the Cardinals. On top of that, Matthew Liberatore picked up the victory in the final game of the series. Hunter Dobbins, just up from AAA, got his first professional save, going 3 2/3 innings, giving up just 1 run.
And the run was on a home run by Alex Bregman, who was really great at third base for the Cubs. Double plays kept the Cardinals from adding to their 4-run victory.
They had more chances, but I like the fact that the Cardinals had a lot of traffic on the bases.
And coming home, breaking a 4-game losing streak, the Cardinals won 2 out of 3 and now face Skip Schumacher's Texas Rangers tonight.
It'll be fun to see Skip. I'm sure he'll get a great round of applause today here at the ballpark, but the Cardinals are facing a tough one in DeGrom.
DeGrom against McGreevy will be on the air at 5:50. First pitch at 6:45.
Our player of the game this evening with his first big league save, Hunter Dobbins. Now, you were scheduled to pitch today in Memphis, but what's it like to pitch here in St. Louis tonight?
Oh, I mean, it's great to finally get out here, pitch in front of this crowd with these guys behind me. It's just great just finally being in this building and being able to get on the mound.
How about that crowd tonight?
Oh, they're awesome. All the way from the tarp soft section to the guys behind the dish. It's been fun, and that's getting to feel that in the 9th inning was a lot of fun.
What was working for you tonight? Because as I mentioned, you were scheduled to pitch this evening, but what was working for you here tonight?
Just mixing. Pedro had a great approach. I just trusted him, got up there, threw the ball, attacked. Offense gave us the lead, just went from there.
And now you're part of this Cardinal-Cub rivalry. What's that like? Because I'm sure you've heard about it all these years this has been going on.
I mean, it's great to be a part of the rivalry, and that's a good ball club, but we're just going to keep on playing ball and hopefully keep winning some games.
Your first big league save, what do you think about that?
Just another box to check, and we'll just keep on rolling.
Hold on to that ball, my friend. It won't be the last one.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
All right, Hunter Dobbins is our player of the game.
Also in this Cubs series, Chaim Bloom made several moves. He called up Nelson Velazquez. Chaim Bloom also called up Jimmy Crooks. The president of baseball operations yesterday, as you heard, Hunter Dobbins. What's next? I asked him, could it be Lars Nootbaar?
You know, we're moving to the end of that 20-day timetable, and just because he did not have spring training, we want to make sure we're using every bit of that timetable to check as many boxes as we can. before it's showtime. And so there's a few more things left on his schedule with that, but he's trending just fine. I think it's reasonable to assume that even once we activate him, that there will still be a little bit of an acclimation period, just both post-surgery, and even though he won't be in rehab mode anymore, just kind of being used to playing every day or close to every day at the big league level. And then also just getting back into the swing of things against the toughest competition in the world. But he's in a good spot, and we're really excited. You think about him and the combination of knowledge of the strike zone, the ability to impact the ball, some of the things he can do defensively. We've missed him. It's going to be nice to have him back.
Coming up at 7:45, could he go as far as to call up Joshua Baez or Blaze Jordan? We'll ask Heim that question. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Pump up the volume. Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
The legendary Fast Eddie at Fast Eddie's Bon Air and St. Louis baseball legend Jason Isringhausen.
Izzy, what's going on, man?
You know what, Eddie boy, I've been pretty busy. Got to get out there and got to do the mowing.
Yep, I'll tell you what, when you get done mowing the grass.
Well, I do my best Forrest Gump impression with all of that mowing I have to do around the property.
Do it for St. Louis, do it.
Like Mama said, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get, except at Fast Eddie's Bon Air. What are we going to get at Fast Eddie's?
Let me get it right. You can come on over to Fast Eddie's Bar Bon Air, located on the other side of Clark Bridge in beautiful Alton, Illinois. When you're done mowing the grass, come over here and lounge around with me on the beautiful outdoor patio with all the big screens, the live music playing, the hot chick on a stick.
What about that fancy surf and turf you came up with?
Man, I'm telling you what, that is meat and seafood on one stick. And it's called the Eddie. It's the king of all foods.
Like Mr. Shannon always said, if you're 21 and in the mood, come on over to that Clark Bridge and come see Fast Eddie's Bon Air in beautiful Alton, Illinois.
Now the news at 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:20, and it is just kind of a mess out there right now. Pretty wet. We'll get you the forecast here in just a second. 69 degrees in downtown St. Louis. Let's get the latest from Roger Brandon, the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, there's slow traffic, no surprise, I guess, Debbie, with the weather this way. On southbound 61, north of Highway W, most of the way down to 64. If you're on eastbound 70, you're slow at Bryan Road, jammed at K. We got that crash. Westbound 70, west of 79, left lane blocked, and eastbound Gawkanass, you have jam traffic both ways there. Still working the crash. Eastbound 364 before Bennington with the left lane blocked. It's jammed back to 141. Southbound 141 is jammed from 364 midway down to Olive because of an injury crash with only one lane open. Eastbound 70 backed up. Cypress up through Air Flight, we had an incident there. If you're on eastbound Highway 64, it's just kind of slow around the inner belt. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley's heavy. Hanley Industrial Court near Hanley, there's a report of cars stuck in floodwaters. Northbound 270 just slow all the way from 55 up to Ladue. Eastbound 44 working to clear that crash. East to Antire traffic is jammed back to Highway 109. Northbound 55 looks good. Downtown we still have that left lane flooded. Westbound 70 before Adelaide jammed at Salisbury. Westbound 64, 50 to 159 is busy. And then a couple of pockets from the 70 split to the Poplar. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Show, Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at 11 a.m.
The weather is rainy, and it's going to be that way for a couple more hours. Things are starting to lighten up in most of the St. Louis area. We do still have some heavy rain in the metro east and definitely to the south of us, Farmington up through Chester, Illinois. For today, after this comes through and the severe thunderstorm watches until 9 a.m., we will have breaks of sunshine. It'll be humid today with a high of 81, clouds overnight, low 65. Tomorrow, sunny to partly cloudy. It'll be less humid. Really nice day tomorrow, high 81. Currently, it's 69 downtown.
The news continues on KMOX at 7:23. Students across Illinois may soon have to put their phones away for the entire school day.
Lawmakers have approved a measure requiring K-12 districts to adopt bell-to-bell cell phone restrictions, and Governor Pritzker says he plans to sign it. The proposal would ban cell phone use in schools with exceptions for medical needs, special education plans, and certain language learning programs. Supporters say phones have become a major classroom distraction and argue the change will help students stay focused and engaged. The Illinois State Board of Education must provide guidance to school districts by September as schools get ready to implement their own policies. Rachel Pearson, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Here is WBBM's Sarah Herrera reporting on Illinois lawmakers approving a property tax foreclosure overhaul Saturday, targeting a system critics say rewarded investors more than homeowners.
The legislation, backed by Cook County Treasurer Maria Pappas, would change what happens when homeowners fall far behind on their property taxes. Right now in Illinois, private investors can buy unpaid tax debt from counties. If the homeowner cannot repay the debt within a few years, the investor can eventually take ownership of the property and keep any remaining equity after the tax bill is paid. Supporters of the legislation say some families have lost not only their homes, but life savings tied up in the value of those properties. The proposal, prompted in part by a 2023 U.S. Supreme Court ruling, would gradually phase out private tax buyers in Cook County and instead return leftover proceeds from property sales back to former homeowners. Sarah Herrera, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
A sweeping data center bill in the Illinois State House was near the finish line yesterday. We get more from Mike Krauser.
Senator Darby Hill says innovation and economic development cannot come at the expense of local communities or natural resources.
Data centers are a real concern right now, especially in our communities. So I believe that we should have a moratorium for at least a year on data center development so that we can study this and make sure that we have the right guardrails and safeguards to protect our communities.
But first, the legislation from the Barrington Hills Republican would prevent data centers from being located within 3 miles of residential areas. It also gives more authority to local governments to regulate water use and pollution, including noise pollution. People are worried, she says, and they have every right to be.
In the end, the bill did not pass, but the bill's leaders say it's not dead and lawmakers will continue to discuss it this summer. Legislation aimed at keeping the bears in Illinois got a last-minute revamp. This comes as Senate lawmakers were not behind the mega project bill passed out of the House. Illinois State Representative Cam Buckner.
I'll say this from the beginning. We're not picking winners and losers. What we want to do is keep the bears here in the city of in the state of Illinois.
Although the amended House bill passed out of the Senate yesterday, it was not voted on again by House lawmakers and missed the deadline.
The Illinois House and Senate waited until the last day of the session, but they have passed a bill aimed at environmental justice by requiring companies to get permits when they plan to increase pollution. Jen Walling, CEO of the Environmental Council, says the fight to protect the environment is heating up on the state and local levels.
Our Illinois Environmental Protection Agency and the Pritzker administration are really working to ensure that our pollution standards stay in place despite everything going on at the federal level.
Researchers estimate that air pollution contributes to about 5% of premature deaths in environmental justice communities, areas that tend to have lower incomes and more air pollution.
It's 7:26. Time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Hey, let's talk about the great Lederman Law Firm. Lederman Law Firm in St. Louis. I'm Tom Ackerman. My family's been working with the Lederman Law Firm for over 20 years now. And the reason's simple. They don't just create documents and send you on your way. They help make sure your plan works. You know, word of mouth still matters here in St. Louis. And I'm pretty careful about who I recommend, especially when it comes to something as personal as estate planning. Let's be honest. Life changes. Family needs and circumstances change. Laws change. But most estate plans don't change over time as needs, circumstances, and laws change. They're outdated. They sit in a drawer. People assume they're fine. They assume the plan will work when they need it to work. Well, at Laterman Law Firm, it's not a one-time transaction. It's an ongoing process. They build a plan to protect your family and your assets, and then for a fixed annual fee, they help keep it up to date as both your life and assets change. That's why we're clients, and that's why I'm comfortable recommending the Laterman Law Firm here in St. Louis. Check out the Laterman Law Firm at latermanlaw.com, LAIDERMAN, law.com, or give them a call, 314-514-9100. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here. I want to tell you about Burn Balance Complex, which is available at supplement superstores. And look, I've been using Burn Balance Complex since the week that it was released, and you notice the benefits really soon after you get started. Look, what Burn Balance Complex is a complete metabolism system. It is not just a fat burner. It works with your body, not against you, right? It's not bringing a lot of the negativity that other supplements bring. It's nothing but the good stuff. It's a natural weight loss option for people that just don't want prescriptions or injections. Get that. I understand it. And to me, Burn Balance Complex is the best thing I've used when it comes to natural weight loss. Also helps with reducing stress and lowering cortisol levels. You're going to get appetite and cravings control along with that, plus all-day focused energy with no jitters, which is the best part. Look, it's not magic. You got to put in the work. Burn Balance Complex makes putting in the work that much easier. So get out to supplement superstores. Tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you, and they'll knock 30% off for you right there on the spot. And you can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is, who do you hire? At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call 314-569-1050 or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
It is now 7:30, and the sky looks a little brighter, but I'm hearing a lot of thunder and still a little rainy in downtown St. Louis. It's 69 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Let's see how that affected the roads. Roger Brand, Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, let's talk about issues out there, folks. So they're still working this crash. Westbound 70 west of 79, left lane block, traffic jammed at 79. Eastbound 70 drivers are slow at Bryan Road, jammed approaching Highway K. Southbound 61, Highway P, down onto 64 through Prospects, pretty busy. Eastbound 364, you've still got a jam. Let's call it approaching 141 up to that crash in the left lanes before Bennington. There's also a crash with lane blockage southbound 141 midway between 364 and Olive. It's jammed at 364 there. One eastbound 70 at Air Flight. Traffic's backed up at Lindbergh as well. Eastbound 64, once you get out of St. Charles County, it's a little slow past Clarkson, but primarily Lindbergh into the Interbelt. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley, slow. South 170, a couple of pockets at Ladue. North 270, 55. All the way to Manchester, and then Clayton Road to Ladue after that's pretty busy. Eastbound 44, still this crash east of Antire. Traffic's jammed at 109 now. Northbound 55, just a little bit busy around Bayless. Not bad there. Westbound 70 from the Mutual Veterans out to Adelaide. That left lane was flooded. Westbound 70 there. Eastbound 64, a crash east of 255, a short jam there. And westbound 64, still a couple of slow pockets from the 70 split to the Poplar. Next update is 740 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather forecast, we are absolutely looking at some wet weather here in the St. Louis area. Right now, just taking a quick peek at our radar, we have heavy rain to the south and southeast of the downtown area, stretching into Waterloo, Illinois, all the way down into St. Genevieve and Chester, Illinois, Fredericktown, Missouri, also getting some heavy rain at the moment. We are also seeing the heaviest rain in Hillsborough and Litchfield on the east side. Otherwise, most of this rain is going to come through and be out of here within the next hour, 2 hours, depending on where you are. But we have gotten a lot of rain. A severe thunderstorm watch until 9 a.m. Then clouds break for some sun, humid, spotty late day or evening thunderstorm, a high today of 81, low 65 tonight, less humid, and a nice day tomorrow with a high of 81. It's 68 right now.
A few thousand St. Louis area residents are without power this morning. According to Ackerman, about 2,300 residents without power in St. Louis City, a little over 1,000 more in the county, St. Charles and St. Francis counties.
This week, we reported on Madison County detectives making an arrest in the 1993 murder of Randy Gale Sperino in Granite City. Today, the team is detailing the technology that helped them crack the case more than 30 years later. Alongside updated DNA work and genetic genealogy, investigators leaned on a tool that helped them comb through more than 2,000 pages of old files.
Captain Tim Lawrence is the chief of detectives.
I think we got to look at AI. You can either work for AI or you can make AI work for you. And in our case, we use Centerline AI specifically, and we definitely make it work for us.
The detective who took a fresh look at the case, Jacob Svoboda, says he was just 4 or 5 years old when this murder happened. The suspect has confessed.
There's new scrutiny on University City's network of automated license plate readers. KMOX's Michael Calhoun tells us about the concerns.
The cameras are by flock safety and scan passing cars to look for wanted suspects. But Councilwoman Lisa Brenner asked a company rep how the system manages privacy when local police departments are collaborating with surrounding towns.
Let's say U-City's cooperating with Clayton, our neighbor. How does Clayton get our data? How does that work? And what are the safeguards within that?
A public affairs official for the company, Holly Boleyn, told the company that granting access is not an all or nothing requirement.
It doesn't have to be reciprocal. So Clayton could share their camera access with University City, and University City doesn't have to share back.
U-City Police Chief Larry Hampton defended the network during the meeting, saying regional collaboration with the cameras recently helped authorities to apprehend a serial killer. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com at 7:33.
Around baseball, they're talking about St. Louis, a youth movement that's not waiting for the future. Names like Walker, Wynn, and Weatherholt aren't projections anymore. They're the conversation right now. And in a city where expectations never change, the conversation gets louder. Join the conversation. The Gas House Gang. Weekdays at noon. This is Cardinals talk that doesn't flinch.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce.
It's Spruce, the weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people, pets, and bees. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Spruce, pet friendly, weed deadly. Find wherever weed killers are sold.
It is 7:36, and it is time for your money report. It's sponsored by Busey Bank.
This is the Bloomberg Money Minute. Pizza Hut is looking to be delivered to a new owner. Fast food giant Yum Brands is said to be in exclusive talks to sell the chain to private equity firm Long Range Capital. Sources tell us the deal could come together in a few weeks. The owner of Taco Bell and KFC said last year that it was conducting a strategic review of Pizza Hut after years of trying to revive the chain. No comment from Young or Long Range. Checking on the markets, jobs are the focus for Wall Street this week. Investors are looking ahead to the labor report from the government for May this Friday. Economists surveyed by Bloomberg see payrolls rising by 89,000. Ahead of that, S&P futures are up 17 points, Dow futures rising 140. And Nvidia is entering the PC market with a new chip aimed at loosening the stranglehold of Intel in that arena. Starting this fall, Nvidia's new RTX Spark Superchip will debut in laptop and desktop computers from PC brands including Dell. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
This is the take care of my family goal. This is the enjoy the life I've built goal. This is the set up a foundation goal. This is Busey, where your goals become lasting legacies. Through bespoke plans that maximize your wealth, through partnerships that give you peace of mind. Because building wealth, tending to it, and passing it down secures a brighter future. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Nor Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's crawfordbutts.com.
Gamma Tree experts, your trees deserve the best care. I don't know if you had any thunderstorm damage overnight or today, but if you did and you have limbs in your yard, or if this does happen to you, because no matter what your tree care service is, Mother Nature is going to do her thing. If that does happen, Gamma Tree Experts is there for you. GammaTree.com. They are available 24/7 to get their attention for thunderstorm, just storm damage in general, cleanup, tornadoes, high winds. That will do damage. They also can do preventative care. So they do that for us. They'll go around our yard, take a look at all of our trees, let us know which ones are doing well and which ones are not. And that is very, very helpful. It has been over time because our trees are assets. They are part of our property. We absolutely need them to be taken care of. And we want Gamma Tree Experts, the best in the business, to do just that. Your trees deserve the best care. Gamma Tree Experts since 1954. GammaTree.com.
Ouch! Checked from behind. Man, that's gotta hurt.
I'd hire Morgan & Morgan if I were them.
What?
Yeah, Dan, America's largest injury law firm. They serve up justice, ice, cold, law. Know what I mean?
I guess.
Their gloves come off when they fight for you.
Okay.
I'm talking a settlement slapshot.
Shouldn't we be talking about the game?
Yeah, Dan, Morgan & Morgan.
Proud partner of the St. Louis Blues. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
Get inside your Redbirds in the 2026 season every Tuesday at noon. It's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol on your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
It is 7:40, and that means it's time for us to get you updated on traffic and weather. Our windows here are soaking wet. I'm trying to tell. Doesn't look like it's raining right now in downtown St. Louis. Could be wrong. But anyway, it's been a stormy morning. We'll get the forecast for you in just a second. Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still have a backup on eastbound 70, Debbie. It's getting better, but there's still delays. First of all, Z to 64 slow, and then from Bryan Road into 79 with that earlier westbound crash. They cleared it. The westbound side's thinned out. After that, you still got a little slowdown, 94 to 5th Street and right around Cypress going up the hill toward Air Flight. Southbound 61 slows at P, jams midway down from there to Wentzville Parkway. Busy up to Lake St. Louis Boulevard through the Chesterfield Parkway West area to Timberlake and Lindbergh through the Interbelt. It's slow. South 170, a couple of spots. South of Delmar to 64, westbound 64, west of the Science Center to Hanley's Heavy, 364. Still have a jam approaching 141 onto the Creve Coeur Lake Bridge. Then it's just slow to 270 due to the earlier crash. Eastbound 44, still have that crash. They were working to clear east of Antire. Traffic is jammed approaching 109, so bumper to bumper coming out of the Pacific Eureka area there. If you're on northbound 270, 55, all the way up to Ladue is busy. Downtown, westbound 70, still a jam west of the Mutual Veterans, out toward Adelaide where that left lane was flooded. Eastbound 64 a jam through 255 because of a crash, and westbound 64, 70 split to the Poplar slow. Next update is 750 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. My goodness, are we out of the woods yet with this rain?
Not quite, but we're almost done. We've had an inch and a half of rain over the last couple of hours as this complex of rain and thunderstorms have rolled on through. I think the severe weather threat's done. The heaviest of the rain is just about done. And really, if you look at the radar right now, the back edge of the heavy rain is pretty much right downtown. And to the west, it's still raining lightly for another 20, 30 minutes. And then after that, we can signal the all clear, and we're done pretty much for the rest of the day. I could see a stray thunder shower later this afternoon, this evening, nothing severe, but they'll be very spotty in nature. And in between, the clouds will break for some sun. With all this water, it's going to be a pretty humid day today with our high just above 80. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, low 65. More sunshine tomorrow with lower humidity. Really should be a beautiful day, the high 81. And we'll have another one like it Wednesday with sunshine, the high 82. Thursday, partly sunny, gets a little bit warmer at 87. Friday, clouds and some sun and very warm, maybe a thunderstorm or two, the high 87. Still raining, 66 at St. Peter, 65 in Florissant, 70 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right. Thank you, Joe. It is 7:44. Responding to a new legal ruling, President Trump now says he has no interest in continuing his overhaul of the Kennedy Center. A federal judge says Trump cannot rename the D.C. Performing Arts venue or close it for lengthy renovations without congressional approval. ABC News Washington managing editor Catherine Falders.
What happened here was that there were a couple lawsuits filed. A judge issued a ruling saying Trump's name has to come down from the Kennedy Center, that he doesn't have the right to just put his name on the building. He doesn't have the right to rename it, that by law from Congress, it is named after John F. Kennedy. That's the only person it could be named after.
A change of plans at America's 250th birthday celebration after some performers pulled out. Here's ABC's Alec Kosick.
President Trump is now set to headline the opening ceremony of the Great American State Fair, June 24th. The event, organized by Freedom 250, is scheduled to take place on the National Mall as part of America's 250th anniversary celebrations. But it's facing setbacks, with the majority of musicians slated to perform pulling out. Martina McBride, Bret Michaels, Young MC, and the Commodores were all set to take part, but say they'll no longer perform.
The Cardinals with a tremendous win yesterday over the Chicago Cubs. Why is that so important? Because this rebuild, this youth movement that the fans have caught on to, has some momentum. A big series win over the Cubs. That gives Cardinals fans a little hope here on June 1st that things are bright. What does Bob Costas think? I asked him about Chaim Bloom, the Cardinals president of baseball operations, and what he is doing here.
Yeah, so it seems. When Goldschmidt and Arenado, not far removed from their peaks, but past their peaks, but still players who can contribute. Goldschmidt has contributed for the Yankees, Arenado for the Diamondbacks. But when they decided to cut them loose, that was an indication, look, we can't ride this same horse forever. We'd rather not be mediocre or just slightly better than mediocre with guys with Hall of Fame credentials, but past their peak. At some point, you got to look toward the future. Generally, that means, as I said before, many losing seasons. It looks like Chaim Bloom may, in fact, have found a formula. It's too early to say for sure. And there's so many variables in baseball over the course of a long season and injuries and all the rest. But it looks as if maybe that timetable is a little quicker than fans had reason to believe.
And he's made a lot of moves here recently. Nelson Velasquez on Friday, boom, hits a home run first pitch that he sees. The Cardinals also called up Jimmy Crooks, who caught on Saturday. They called up Hunter Dobbins, who pitched yesterday in relief of Matthew Liberatore, and that worked out as well.
The 1-2 pitch, a swing and a miss. The ball's picked out of the dirt by Pages. He throws to first. See ya, Seiya Suzuki. He's out on strikes, 2-3.
Payoff pitch, a big pitch coming up for Dobbins to Swanson. The 3-2 delivery, swing and a miss. He struck him out. Dobbins strikes out Swanson with 2 runners in scoring position. And now back to the top of the order and Nico Horner.
Hunter Dobbins came into the game yesterday, and the Cardinals did this exactly as they planned. They had Matthew Liberatore pitch 5 1/3, and then Dobbins came in to clean up the rest. No bullpen needed, with Dobbins, the starter in Memphis, brought up to pitch 3 2/3. He allowed 1 run on 4 hits. He walked no one and struck out 4. He got a save for that, first major league save. And the Cardinals beat the Cubs 5-1. The Cardinals are in second place here on June 1st in the National League Central with a record of 31-26. They'll take on the Texas Rangers tonight. 6:45 first pitch for Michael McGreevy, and a good one on the other side in Jacob deGrom. What's next now as the Cardinals continue to add players? Is Lars Nootbaar on the way soon? Says Bloom. He is getting ready to make that call up. What else could be in play? I asked him, would they go so far as to take a look at Joshua Baez and Blaze Jordan at Memphis?
He's been on everybody's radar in this organization for a while. His first taste to AAA, at the outset, so much of the damage was against lefties and was struggling some against righties, still getting into some power every now and then. But there were some things swing-wise, approach-wise, that need to be honed in, and those continue to move in a positive direction. Love where he's headed. Want him to have every chance to establish himself ultimately as an everyday player in this league. He has that upside. He's moving in a very positive direction and very much on our radar. And with Blaze, it's not his first time at that level. He really struggled there after coming over last year. Obviously, he was in AAA as well with Boston, and then came over here, did not finish the season well. Struggled a little bit in spring training too, and he's been in a really good spot since the season started. Continues to improve defensively, offensively. His approach has been great. He's in a very confident place right now in the box. Certainly has our attention. Someone we're keeping a very close eye on, and someone who I think if he keeps doing what he's been doing is going to merit a chance at the highest level.
Chaim Bloom, Full Conversation, Sports on a Sunday Morning podcast page at KMOX.com. Time for our parlay of the day, sponsored by Circus Sports. Sports betting the way it should be. All right, I got you here. Wednesday, I'm just going to double down on this because I've told you over and over the New York Knicks are going to win the NBA title, and I like them +5 at San Antonio. Doesn't mean they're going to win game 1, but I think they cover 5, +5. And then if you want to parlay it, Knicks to win the NBA championship, I'm going to go a step further. Knicks win in 6 at the Garden. That is +565 right now. I think that is good. I would go Knicks in 6 at +565. That's our parlay of the day. Sponsored by Circus Sports. Sports betting the way it should be.
Hey, Missouri, it's game time. Start betting like a pro with the world's largest sports book at your fingertips. Hi, I'm Derek Stevens. I'm a lifelong sports bettor, and I'm the owner of Circus Sports. It's sports betting the way it should be, with high limits, player-friendly pricing, exceptional customer service, and more. Download your new bookie at circusports.com. The action starts now, Missouri. Experience the difference with Circus Sports. Bet like a pro.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
Enjoying the great taste and health benefits of cottage cheese is easier than ever with Pro Pack Snack Cottage Cheese Cups from Prairie Farms. Each perfectly portioned cup is less than 100 calories, low in fat, and packed with 12 grams of protein, making it a smart, satisfying way to fuel your day. If you're at work, practice, or a cards game, Pro Pack is your tasty grab-and-go snack option. locally made, naturally delicious. Find Prairie Farms Pro Pack Snack Cottage Cheese Cups at your local grocery store.
Feel the rhythm and turn it up, St. Louis. Legendary rock icons Santana and the Doobie Brothers are bringing the heat to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater June 20th for the Oneness Tour 2026. From Black Magic Woman to Listen to the Music, this is the concert event fans don't want to miss. It'll be a summer night soon not forgotten. Santana, the Doobie Brothers. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com. For more info, go to KMOX.com/events.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX. Now the news at 1 the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Hey, it's 7:52. Let's get a check of the roadways with Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got slow traffic around a lot of the area, Debbie. Eastbound 70Z to 64, then Bryan Road all the way to 79. There's another slowdown. Cave Springs into Zembel, 94 to 5th Street. Westbound 70 downtown, that left lane still flooded before Adelaide. Traffic's a solid jam back to the Muswell Veterans Bridge. Southbound 61, a slow stretch from P midway down to Wentzville Parkway. Then it's jammed. Wentzville Parkway to 64, busy from there to Lake St. Louis Boulevard on 64. Eastbound 64 through the Chesterfield Parkways. You've got heavy traffic east of Lindbergh to Big Bend. South 170 bogs down at Olive. Westbound 64 jammed from about the Science Center out to the city limits, but slow all the way to Hanley after that. Eastbound 364 coming through our Heritage Station. There's heavy traffic east of the Veterans Bridge to 141 in Bennington to 270, South 270, 364 down to Ladue, slow north 270 north of Gravois to Ladou's busy. 44 still has a jam, 109 to the Merrimack, but then it's just slow. Lewis Road up the hill to Antire, so they cleared that earlier crash. We got a new injury crash with lane blockage. Eastbound 44 at River to Pear. Traffic's jammed back to Laclede Station because of that one. Northbound 55 a little slow, 4500 Broadway to Potomac. Westbound 64 heavy from the 70 split to the Poplar. Next update is 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And our rain is tapering off, probably another hour of it, says AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg. And then we're going to see some sun. It'll be humid, though, with all this water around. A spotty late-day thunderstorm, says Joe. High 81 degrees today. Clouds overnight, low 65. Tomorrow, very nice day, less humid, and a high of 81. It's 68 right now.
The news continues at 7:54. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers says the swim beach at Ants Creek Campground at Table Rock Lake is closed until further notice after routine testing found higher than acceptable E. coli levels.
Also in the news this morning, 4 peregrine falcon chicks just got some new jewelry. The Missouri Department of Conservation posted pictures on Facebook of the fuzzy falcons being fitted with leg bands. The bands each have unique numbers that allow conservation officials to track the birds once they leave the nest, which the department says will be in about 20 days. The chicks hatched in the nesting box atop an energy plant stack in Franklin County. It has a live stream camera so people can watch the birds grow. It's a partnership with Ackerman and the World Bird Sanctuary.
A different kind of bird. Some respect, please, for the lowly pigeon.
Studies of pigeon migration show that they have an internal compass. German scientists finding a magnetic-like material in their liver that aligns with the Earth's magnetic field. University of Bonn researcher Christian Kurtz.
Our study also contains evidence all these macrophages in the liver are connected to nerves. They all go to the brain.
Wild species migrate seasonally up to 1,200 miles. The common city pigeon just kind of hangs around within a mile or two. Wayne Cabot, ABC News.
It's 7:56.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-720-8444. 314-720-8444. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-720-8444.
All dog owners, if you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
Zero Res wants to help clean your home. Big summer savings with 3 rooms clean starting at just $129 and take an additional $100 off your air duct cleaning. Visit ZeroResSTL.com and ask for the DGS special.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
Here is Roger Brand at 7:58 in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, eastbound 70 still slow. Bryan Road in through TR Hughes, 94 into 141. After that, it's not bad. Westbound 70, you still have this jam downtown. They have nobody's even tending to it, but that left lane is still flooded. Probably a clogged storm drain, I guess. Just before Adelaide, it's a solid jam back to the Musel Veterans Bridge on westbound 70. Southbound 61, south of P, down onto 64 to the Boulevard, slow. Clarkson into Timberlake, east of Lindbergh into Big Bend. South 170, a couple of pockets from Olive down to 64 is busy. Westbound 64, Science Center to Hanley's heavy. South 270, 364 down to Ladue is slow. North 270, north of Gravway up to Ladue, pretty busy. 44 is still some slow traffic at the Merrimack, east of 109 to Antire because of an earlier crash, and then it jams east of Elm to the crash near River to Pear. Northbound 55, a little slow approaching Potomac. Westbound 64, 3rd Street to the Poplar, and eastbound 64 still has a jam briefly at 255. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's 7:59. A federal judge is reopening President Trump's $10 billion case against the IRS. Megan Lynch gets the latest from ABC's Stephen Portnoy.
The stock market could impact auto sales more than gas prices. We'll learn more from Detroit auto reporter Jeff Gilbert.
Hopes of returning humans to the moon could be delayed following the explosion of a private rocket at Cape Canaveral. We'll get insight from WashU researcher Jeff Gillis.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Severe thunderstorms to start the day, then some sunshine and rather humid later today with a late-day thunderstorm possible, the high 81.
Those storms have rolled out of here for the most part. We have 69 degrees downtown at the Arch.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The U.S. and Iran exchanging fire over the weekend, drawing into question the ceasefire talks that had been happening. The war now in its 4th month, and says ABC's Rachel Scott.
The economic toll continues to hit Americans here at home with these high gas prices, but the president still insists he is in no rush to make a deal. Late overnight, he posted on social media telling critics to sit back and relax, saying it will all work out in the end.
Dozens of arrests now reported outside the ICE detention facility in Newark, New Jersey. A mandatory curfew put in place over the weekend following days of determinations. Another strike into an alleged drug boat in the Eastern Pacific. 3 more killed, bringing the number killed since the U.S. strikes began to more than 200. President Trump says he will headline the opening ceremony at the Great American State Fair, marking the nation's 250th birthday. That announcement after most of the musicians who had agreed to perform pulled out, complaining it was too partisan. This is ABC News. A Hollywood legend would have turned 100 years old today. ABC's Danny New with more on how fans of Marilyn Monroe are celebrating.
Born Norma Jean Mortensen, the LA native landed her breakout role in 1953's Niagara.
Oh, do you feel the breeze from the subway? Isn't it delicious?
with now classic films like The 7-Year Itch.
I wanna be loved by you.
And over the weekend, a record-breaking 1,037 lookalikes gathered in Palm Springs, dressed in her iconic getup from 7-Year Itch.
You say 100 years. I feel like she never left us.
It appears this 100-year itch will never be scratched.
Chipmaker NVIDIA unveiling a new chip that puts AI capabilities directly into laptops and desktops to be delivered this fall. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang saying it's part of a 3-year deal they've been working on with Microsoft that will, in his words, reinvent PCs for the AI era. I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
It is 8:02, and right now in downtown St. Louis, it is overcast, 69 degrees downtown. I'm Debbie Monterrey. A few thousand St. Louis residents are without power this morning. According to Ackerman, nearly 2,300 people are facing outages in St. Louis City, a little over 1,000 more in the county, St. Charles and St. Francis counties. There's a new scrutiny on University City's network of automated license plate readers.
The cameras are by Fox Safety and scan passing cars to look for wanted suspects. But Councilwoman Lisa Brenner asked a company rep how the system manages privacy when local police departments are collaborating with surrounding towns.
Let's say U-City is cooperating with Clayton, our neighbor. How does Clayton get our data? How does that work?
Yeah.
And what are the safeguards within that?
A public affairs official for the company, Holly Boleyn, told the company that granting access is not an all or nothing requirement.
It doesn't have to be reciprocal. So Clayton could share their camera access with University City, and University City doesn't have to share back.
U-City Police Chief Larry Hampton defended the network during the meeting, saying regional collaboration with the cameras recently helped authorities to apprehend a serial killer. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Over the weekend, parking in downtown St. Louis had only accepting debit and credit cards. All parking lots owned by the city were not accepting cash. Treasurer Adam Lane says he would also like to consolidate how parking payments are made by getting the lots on the Park Louie app.
My vision is to make parking something that people don't have to think about in St. Louis. So if there is one app that allows you to pay for any treasurer-owned lot, garage, or on-street option, that's great for mobility for folks in the region.
Lane says right now the city-owned lots are only accepting credit and debit, and if they implement this system long-term, he wants to add Apple Pay and Google Pay. Gas prices in the St. Louis region are down almost 14 cents compared to last week. Gas Buddy reporting the average price, $4.22 a gallon. Diesel is down 15.5 cents to $5.44 a gallon. It's been nearly 1 year since KMOX started reporting on problems at Walgreens. Maria Kina has done a follow-up, and problems persist.
Your prescription is ready. The pharmacy's open till 6 p.m. tonight.
That's not true for hundreds of people who are still reaching out to KMOX for help. Walgreens pharmacy customers receive those calls and texts frequently, and when they go to the pharmacy, it's closed. The store at Hampton and Chippewa and many others frequently do not have pharmacists on duty, and when you get there, in the middle of the day, it can be during the week and almost definitely on Saturdays and Sundays during normal business hours. The other problem is they do not have commonly prescribed medications in stock. They tell you they have to be ordered, and in some cases, you wait several days. KMOX reached out to Missouri's Attorney General Andrew Bailey last year, but he's in Washington, D.C. now. This year, we contacted new AG Catherine Hanaway, but have not had any feedback. Customers file complaints with the AG. We will check with Hanaway's office this week. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
As lawmakers in Illinois wrapped up the 2026 legislative session last night, several big-ticket items crossed the finish line in the final hours. A $59 billion budget was passed, making the largest spending plan in state history, including a suspension on gas tax increases and new taxes on things like social media companies and fantasy sports. Bills passed including a ban on phones in Illinois schools, the Children's Social Media Safety Act, which implements a number of restrictions on social media companies with underage users, and a bill to shield abortion information from digital medical records. Big ticket items that did not pass include a bill to keep the Bears in Chicago and a bill to restrict data centers in the state. If Governor Pritzker signs off on that cell phone ban, it means students across Illinois will like Missouri students have to put their phones away for the whole day.
Lawmakers have approved a measure requiring K through 12 districts to adopt bell-to-bell cell phone restrictions, and Governor Pritzker says he plans to sign it. The proposal would ban cell phone use in schools with exceptions for medical needs, special education plans, and certain language learning programs. Supporters say phones have become a major classroom distraction and argue the change will help students stay focused and engaged. The Illinois State Board of Education must provide guidance to school districts by September as schools get ready to implement their own policies. Rachel Pearson, News Radio 1059 WBBM.
From the KMOX business desk, the Clayton School District is moving ahead with planned upgrades worth about $135 million. Construction will start early next year with a full renovation of the century-old Glenridge Elementary School and upgrades to Clayton High School, including a new learning lab and updates to the school's football stadium. The Business Journal reports the move comes after 86% of voters approved a proposition in April to authorize the funding without increasing property taxes in Clayton. It's 8:07. A look at traffic and weather are coming up next.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very good friend John Moriarty from E3 Wealth. John and I go back years and years and years. John, it's great to have you back in the DGS fold. Tell everyone who's unfamiliar with E3 Wealth what you guys are all about.
Thanks, Dave. So happy to be back. E3, the 3 E's stand for Educate, Empower, Enlighten. We founded the firm, and sometimes we refer to it as E3 Consultants Group, because we want to proactively challenge the status quo as to how Americans are educated about money and finance related decisions. It's a lot. So really what we try to do for our clients is help them think differently about money. And recently we've been doing a ton of things with business owners because we see that as an area where we can provide tremendous growth for them, because we can help them build wealth through their business and also reduce their income tax liabilities. And when you can do that for a business owner, it makes a huge difference in their life.
It's kind of one-stop shopping for all finances, personal and business.
Absolutely. Yes, that's our focus. That's what we're attempting to do with our new book that's coming out called The Entrepreneur Playbook. We're going to be able to help a lot of people understand strategies, ideas on how to build their wealth and also protect it.
So John is a total pro, completely vouch for him as a person. Love this guy. No pressure, no hard sales. You want to learn more about your finances, personal and business, reach out to John at e3wealth.com.
Hi, this is Congresswoman Ann Wagner from Missouri's 2nd District. I work every day to put more money in your pocket, secure the border, protect our shared Missouri values, and keep our communities safe. Whether it's visiting one of my public events in neighborhoods around the district or by contacting my office, I want to hear from you. If you need help with a federal agency, please contact me at wagner.house.gov.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM, the news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Still ahead on Total Information AM. I'm going to sit down with Stephen Portnoy, ABC News national correspondent in Washington. A federal judge has reopened the president's $10 billion case against the IRS. We're going to find out what that means for the weaponization fund coming up. First, let's get a check of the roads with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
No, we're doing better, Megan, but we still have some issues like downtown. That left lane is still flooded from the earlier downpours. Westbound 70 just before Adelaide, traffic jams approaching the Musel Veterans Bridge, just crawling through there. I haven't seen anybody tending to it at all so far this morning. As last time I checked, just before the top of the hour. If you're on eastbound Highway 70, there's still heavy traffic, the Blanchette Bridge into 141. If you're on southbound 61, just a little busy onto 64, but it's slow almost all the way to 364, Chesterfield Parkway west to Clarkson, and then McKnight into Big Bend. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley, still heavy. Northbound 270, let's call it north of 44 up to Ladue, is still slow. Eastbound 44, east of Lewis through Antire, like midway to 141, still slow traffic there. And it's still a little busy between Elm and Laclede Station from an earlier crash they just cleared at the River to Pear. On the Illinois side, it's fine, just a little heavy on westbound 64 at the Poplar. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, a severe thunderstorm watch until 9 this morning. There'll be a couple of strong thunderstorms around early that can produce downpours, gusty winds, and even small hail. But later today, the clouds will break for some sun. It'll be rather humid, nothing more than a spotty late day or evening thunderstorm. Today's high 81. Patchy clouds later tonight, those 65. For tomorrow, more sun than clouds and pleasant with lower humidity, high 81. Wednesday, mostly sunny, high 82. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
We still have rain coming down this morning, 67 degrees in Florissant, 65 in St. Peters, 65 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM here on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. A federal judge has reopened President Trump's $10 billion case against the IRS after nearly 36 retired federal judges say a settlement in the case amounts to collusion. The proposed agreement between the Justice Department and Mr. Trump would create a nearly $1.8 billion fund to compensate victims of political weaponization. Let's get more this morning from ABC News national correspondent in Washington, Stephen Portnoy. He joins me on the Quiver River Electric guest line. Welcome to KMOX.
Hi, Megan. It's good to be back on KMOX.
Well, first remind us what this case is originally about.
Well, this case was initially filed by President Trump as a private individual because he and a number of other people had their tax information leaked by an IRS contractor who wound up being convicted of crimes years ago. He filed the $10 billion lawsuit, and it was announced last month that he had essentially settled with his own administration to create this $1.8 billion fund that would pay out claims to victims of alleged government weaponization. And it raised a whole lot of concerns and questions here in Washington, D.C. But in addition, you mentioned it, the 36 retired federal judges put forward an amicus brief in the courtroom of Judge Kathleen Williams in South Florida. She was overseeing the $10 billion lawsuit. And she, too, had questions about the idea that it was Trump versus Trump. Is this really an adversarial situation that the courts can properly handle? And while it was settled, and she essentially said that her reading of the law in her circuit down in Florida is that she had no more say in the matter, the retired federal judges say they see evidence of collusion in this. And now Judge Williams has agreed to reopen the matter at their urging. And she's directed President Trump as a private individual with his attorneys to come back to her by the end of next week, June 12th, with an explanation as to how this is not collusion. It'll be very interesting to read their filing when they make it.
Now, beyond, this allegation of collusion, what are these retired federal judges saying about the case and this settlement?
Well, basically, what they're saying is it's improper for the President of the United States to oversee a settlement in a case where he is bringing the case, and that's not the way that the law is supposed to work. The law is meant to ensure fairness and equity in the sense of fairness. And when you have a party that controls one side of it and then also the other side, that is an improper use of the federal courts. And never mind the idea that we're talking about taxpayer money, which is a whole separate argument, a political one here in Washington that we can get into. When it comes to the use of the federal courts to make this all happen, that's where these federal judges really are concerned about whether the rules have been followed.
I'm wondering as well, when you talk about the rules, how much scrutiny is this federal judge going to come under that basically she had granted a dismissal of this case, but now has pulled that back?
Well, I think it's an interesting argument that was made in the first place by, frankly, by the Trump side of it, which was, federal courts have no ability, particularly in the 11th Circuit where this is all happening, to dig into settlements between private parties. This is a civil suit. And the judge initially said that too was her understanding, that her hands were tied. But now you have this new argument that because the rules weren't properly followed, therefore the judge has the obligation to dig a little deeper. So this is not saying that the judge is upending the settlement fund, but it is saying that she's going to certainly dig deeper into it.
Well, regardless if it's a civil case, the question that I always have in my mind as a reporter is, what's the cost of all of this for the American taxpayer at this point?
That's a great question, one that's being asked here in Washington by your elected representatives. And, you now have a number of Republicans who are on the record publicly saying that they oppose the use of $1.8 billion in taxpayer money to be paid out to alleged victims of government weaponization, which may include those who are convicted of assaulting police officers on January 6th. There have been many occasions for the acting Attorney General Todd Blanche and other officials in the administration to say, no, that's not the plan, or that's not going to happen. They have declined to say that. Instead, they're saying that, well, we'll review it case by case, which only raises more concerns that in fact, is the plan.
Stephen, thanks so much. Appreciate your time.
You bet.
That is Stephen Portnoy, ABC News national correspondent in Washington, joining us this morning here on KMOX. It's now 8:16. The Pew Research Center out with a new report exploring which political topics American churchgoers say they hear about from their clergy. KMOX religion editor Fred Bottomer found out more about the survey when he spoke with Pew senior researcher Becca Alpert.
We find that most Americans who attend religious services at least monthly have heard their clergy speak about at least one political or social issue in the past few months. And abortion, Israel, and homosexuality are among the top of that list. And while most regular attenders say they have heard something from their clergy, no more than 1/3 have heard about each of these topics individually. So we asked about 7 topics: abortion, Israel, homosexuality, immigration, U.S. military action in Iran, the environment, and people who are transgender. Among the most commonly cited is abortion at 35%. And among the least commonly cited is hearing their clergy speak about people who are transgender at 23%. So not a wide range there. And when people do hear their clergy speak about these topics, they report that they tend to hear more about opposing abortion than supporting abortion rights, opposing homosexuality than encouraging acceptance of people who are gay or lesbian, supporting Israel than criticizing it, the need to welcome and support immigrants than the need for stricter immigration enforcement, protecting the environment than opposing environmental regulations, opposing transgender identity than accepting people who are transgender. And then they hear more of a mix when it comes to U.S. military action in Iran.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more about that. Exactly what are the numbers there?
Sure. So about 1 in 10 regular attenders say they've recently heard their clergy speak in opposition to the U.S. military action in Iran, while 4% say their religious leaders have spoken in support of it, and 9% report that their clergy have talked about the conflict without supporting or opposing it.
Does it differ when it comes to denominations, what they're hearing?
So we see that among U.S. adults who attend religious services at least monthly, Catholics and white evangelical Protestants are the most likely to say their clergy have spoken about recently about abortion. White evangelicals are especially likely to say they hear their clergy talk about homosexuality. And Catholics stand out for hearing immigration discussed in their churches. And there, Catholics, along with members of most Protestant subgroups, who regularly attend religious services, are more likely to say their clergy have spoken in support of immigrants.
Did you ask about how regular church attenders perceive their clergy's partisanship?
We did, and the survey shows that many regular attenders are not sure whether the leaders of their religious congregations are Republicans or Democrats. 19% say they think their clergy are mostly Republicans, while 8% think their clergy are mostly Democrats. But most either think their clergy are politically mixed, that's 27%, or say they're unsure about their clergy's political leanings at 44%.
Becca, tell us some more about what the faithful heard from their clergy leaders when it comes to the immigration issue.
Sure. So we found that among U.S. adults who attend religious services regularly, that's a few times, once or twice a month or more often, when they hear their clergy speak about immigration, and 27% say that they've heard their clergy talk about immigration in the past few months at their place of worship. They tend to hear more about the need to welcome and support immigrants at 15% than the need for stricter immigration enforcement. 3% said that.
That is Becca Alpert, a senior researcher at the Pew Research Center, speaking with our KMOX religion editor, Fred Bottomer. Let's see how things are moving on the roads with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, there's still no change downtown on westbound 70, Megan. This traffic reports the service of Scott Credit Union. That left lane is still closed due to flooding. Westbound 70, before you get to Adelaide, traffic is still backed up to about the Mutual Veterans Bridge. So it's been that way for hours, basically. Obviously, when we had those heavy downpours earlier this morning, that's when the trouble started. If you're on eastbound 64 from the 70 split towards Lake St. Louis Boulevard, it's still heavy. Clarkson to Timberlake, a little slow, then 170 into Big Bend. Westbound 64 Hampton to Hanley, still off the pace. Northbound 270 north of Big Bend up to Ladue is slow. And other than that, the rest of the interstates are looking pretty good. Even on the Illinois side, no longer any delays on 64. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thank you, Roger. It looks like most of the severe rain has moved off to the east at this point, and not much left as we head through Washington, Missouri, on into downtown St. Louis. It looks like for the rest of the day, we will see some sunshine. It will be humid, though, and we could see another spotty late day or evening thunderstorm Expect a high today around 81. Patchy clouds overnight with a low of 65. Right now, rain 65 degrees downtown at the Arch.
Teachers, healthcare workers, first responders, and military. This one's for you. Scott Credit Union's Community Heroes program offers special financing on homes, autos, and more. It's our way of saying thanks. Visit scu.org today. Equal housing lender, NMLS number 415767. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Jordan Walker. Celebrate Black Heritage Day, presented by your quality Ford dealers on Sunday, June 28th at Busch Stadium. This special culture and community event honors the impact, history, and legacy of the Black community in baseball and beyond. With a special themed ticket, you'll receive an exclusive Cardinals jersey designed by Corey Rogers. And don't miss a special heritage celebration in Budweiser Terrace before the game. Details and tickets at cardinals.com/theme.
The weekend starts here. Grab your crew and kick it off at Friday Night Live at Busch Stadium. Every Friday night home game, Budweiser Terrace turns into the hottest happy hour in the Lou with $5 beers, $5 hot dogs, $7 margaritas, live music, and more all game long. Meet up with friends, soak in the energy, and keep the night going with baseball under the lights. Good vibes, great deals, your new Friday tradition. Get tickets now at Cardinals.com.
With the new My Lowe's Pro Rewards American Express card, earn 3 points per dollar spent on Lowe's qualifying purchases for the first 6 months after card account opening. Plus, save 5% every day on eligible purchases at Lowe's and earn points on eligible purchases everywhere else Amex is accepted. Card members get more at Lowe's. Subject to credit approval. 5% can't be combined with any other offer. Exclusions and restrictions apply. Points subject to loyalty terms at Lowe's.com/terms and credit reward terms at Synchrony.com/MLPRA-terms. Visit Lowe's.com/business credit.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu, an elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Welcome back to Total Information AM here on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Official auto sales numbers for May come out later this week. Are gas prices turning buyers away? Let's get a preview from Jeff Gilbert, Odyssey sister station WWJ in Detroit. He joins me on the Quiver River Electric gas line. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning.
Even with high gas prices, are people still buying cars?
Yeah, in fact, May sales, which come out later this week, appear to be running ahead of May of last year, and that's kind of surprising. And I asked an analyst about it, and he said, well, you know, gas prices isn't the most important number anymore. He said the most important number is what the stock market is doing, and the stock market, of course, has been doing great the last couple of weeks.
Explain that. Is it come down to who's buying the cars?
Exactly. I mean, you know, unfortunately, cars are more expensive. So that means the people who are buying vehicles now tend to have more income. And that means they're a little bit shielded from, you know, what's the volatility of gas prices. But as they look at their stock portfolio, if he said all of a sudden, if the stock market were to go way down, then he would anticipate a little bit of fear on the part of people in that area and would anticipate they'd stop buying cars.
What does this say about the affordability of vehicles to just the average American at this point?
Well, you know, even as recent as a couple of years ago, used car sales are twice as much in a given year as new car sales. So a lot of people had already been pushed out of the new car market, and we've seen that happen more. That's why you see a lot of car companies scrambling to get out more vehicles in the $30,000 to $40,000 price range. Certainly not cheap, but a lot more affordable than, you know, the big pickups and SUVs that can be in $70,000, $80,000, $90,000.
I was just talking with someone last week about the shift from EVs to more hybrids. When people look at these high gas prices and they look to make a decision about the hybrid models or the EV models, what do you feel like people are considering there?
I think more and more people, and it's not what I think, it's what we've seen in showrooms, are considering hybrids. EVs, they peaked last year right before the federal incentives went away, and they've been depressed since then. They've kind of hit a normalcy in the 8-9% of the market range, but hybrids have become more mainstream. 25 years ago, the Prius was something unique. Now, even say, for example, from Toyota, every trim of the Camry is a hybrid. So people are not even looking at how the cars get the great gas mileage. They just look at some of those good gas mileage numbers from hybrids and say, that's what I want.
Jeff, I noted a story that you're covering that popped overnight, and that's workers at one of GM's suppliers walking out on the job. What's happening there?
Well, what's happened there is that's a major supplier in the western part of Michigan, and it supplies the big pickup plant at General Motors. So there are concerns about having an impact there. GM hasn't commented yet, but in this particular strike, these are workers who took some deep concessions during the Great Recession, and they're pushing hard to get a lot of that money back because it has been 15 years, and the company is profitable.
Could that have ripple effects across the market?
It definitely could, but it's still early. If it's just like a 1 or 2 day strike, probably won't have an impact at all. But if it drags on several weeks, it certainly could. This company does have other plants, has plants in Mexico.
Oh, I believe we lost Jeff. We'll get an update on him from that when we can. That is Jeff Gilbert with Odyssey sister station WWJ in Detroit.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
So, how did it go this weekend trying to sell your home? Did you get any offers? Did you get what you were hoping for? Did nothing happen? If your house has been on the market and it's not going well, you might need to change agents. Gloria Liu of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty has many clients who have had other agents, sometimes several other agents, and they come to Gloria because they know Gloria has the buyers. And in fact, Gloria Liu will guarantee that she sells your home. And there aren't many other agents who will do that. In fact, she guarantees that she'll sell your home at the price and time frame that you both agree upon, or she'll buy it herself. So your home is sold. No more stressing out. You can focus on the other things like moving into your brand new home. Gloria will sell your home at 100% of market value, or she'll pay you the difference. So stop stressing about if and when your home will sell and call Gloria Liu of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or online now at gloriahasthebuyers.com.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here. I want to tell you about Burn Balance Complex, which is available at supplement superstores. And look, I've been using Burn Balance Complex since the week that it was released, and you notice the benefits really soon after you get started. Look, what Burn Balance Complex is a complete metabolism system. It is not just a fat burner. It works with your body, not against you, right? It's not bringing a lot of the negativity that other supplements bring. It's nothing but the good stuff. It's a natural weight loss option for people that just don't want prescriptions or injections. Get that. I understand it. And to me, Burn Balance Complex is the best thing I've used when it comes to natural weight loss. Also helps with reducing stress and lowering cortisol levels. You're going to get appetite and cravings control along with that, plus all-day focused energy with no jitters, which is the best part. Look, it's not magic. You got to put in the work. Burn Balance Complex makes putting in the work that much easier. So get out to supplement superstores. Tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you, and they'll knock 30% off for you right there on the spot. And you can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
8:30. Let's get another check of the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, there's still no change downtown on Highway 70. This traffic reports the Service of Financial and Tax Strategies. That left lane is still flooded westbound 70 before Adelaide, and the far right lane is flooded as well. That's the exit lane to Adelaide. Not as bad, but really just two center lanes getting through. So you're jammed from basically the Musial Veterans Bridge out to almost Adelaide on westbound 70. Eastbound 70, a little heavy east of the Blanchard into our city. Eastbound 64 still slow. Chesterfield Parkway west through Timberlake, and then 170 into Big Bend. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley, still heavy. South 170, just slow at the U Club Tower to 64 in that left lane primarily. Northbound 270, Doherty Ferry up to Ladue. That's pretty slow. They reported a crash south 55 at Arsenal, but not seeing any delays through there. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
If your retirement plan is mostly what if and a little fingers crossed, you deserve better answers than that. Check out Wealth and Wisdom Saturdays at 7 a.m. here on KMOX. I'm Gary Goldberg. Call 800-966-1690.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, we are under a severe thunderstorm watch until 9 a.m. A lot of the severe weather has moved off to the east of the immediate St. Louis area. For the rest of the day, clouds breaking for some sunshine. It'll be humid with a spotty late day or evening thunderstorm. A high today around 81. Right now we have rain, 65 degrees downtown at the Arch. Harris Stowe University may join the movement as other Missouri colleges raise the cost of tuition. It comes 2 weeks after the University of Missouri system announced a 5% tuition increase for undergraduates. KMOX's Jade Aubrey spoke with Harris Stowe President Dr. LaTanya Collins-Smith about the announcement.
What we know is maintaining affordability. One of the things about Harris Stowe's mission has always been centered on access, opportunity, and upward mobility for students who may otherwise be underserved by higher education. And for us, our university has always had to balance financial realities, but also preserving the affordability and access. What we know is that many universities are increasing tuition because operational costs continue to rise, along with just when we talk about those operational costs, that's faculty salaries, utilities, the technology infrastructure, student services, and then just overall compliance requirement. And inflation has significantly impacted higher education in general in more recent years. And so what universities nationwide are doing, they're reevaluating their funding models, and so is Harris Stowe. But we're also trying to juggle affordability and accessibility too, making sure that accessibility remains part of our university's identity and our responsibility as a public HBCU. However, much like most of the universities that you've seen here locally and around the state, increasing their tuition, Harris Stowe this year will also be increasing our tuition as well. And so it hasn't been voted on by our board, but it will be voted on next week. It has already been presented to our student body and our campus community, and the next step is for it to go to the board.
Talking a little bit more about the increasing funding issues, what's mainly driving this? What are the big issues that universities are facing and they have to up tuition?
I think, like I said, the overall increasing operational costs. When you look at faculty salaries, when you look at utilities, which everyone is facing, even in your own household. When you look at staying current with innovation, technology infrastructure, overall student services, and also the cost for compliance requirements that are accreditation and all kinds of other things to make sure that your university is continue to be compliant with requirements for higher education. I would say inflation has significantly impacted higher education budgets in more recent years. Those are some of the reasons why universities nationwide are reevaluating what their funding model looks like.
And I'm assuming that universities are expending all our other options so they have to increase tuition. Is that the case at Harris Stowe?
Yeah, that is the case for us. The other thing, too, Harris Stowe is an HBCU. And so what we know about HBCUs, they have historically been underfunded compared to other peer institutions. But despite those resource disparities, HBCUs consistently produce strong outcomes in education, leadership, and in the STEM fields.
That is Harris-Stowe State University President Dr. LaTanya Collins-Smith speaking with our reporter Jade Aubrey. Coming up, your money report.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, Joy. Oh, you are glowing.
Oh, hey, more like Mira-joyed. That Miralax helped me go. I was so backed up. Tried mega coffees, prune juice, everything. Then Miralax. And hello, gentle relief without the harsh side effects.
Ooh, how does it work?
It works naturally with the water in your body for constipation relief. Find Miralax today at your local retailer.
Use as directed for occasional constipation.
Your Money Report now, sponsored by Eamon Gatner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Courtney Donahoe.
Americans aren't saving that much. Stubborn inflation is forcing many consumers to drain their bank accounts just to cover basic living expenses. The saving rate as a percentage of income has hit an almost 4-year low in April of 2.6% as folks spend more to sustain the same standard of living. Inflation at 3.8% is the highest in about 3 years, pushed up by the conflict with Iran. Wall Street ended May with the S&P 500 at a record high. Enthusiasm around artificial intelligence continues to drive gains. It's a busy week ahead for investors, capped off by the May jobs report this Friday. And music festivals are booming globally. The industry was worth an estimated $3.8 billion last year, and it's forecast to hit more than $30 billion by 2035, according to Global Growth Insights. Prices to attend these festivals have been soaring. For instance, tickets for Coachella start at $549. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-922-1284. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-922-1284. 800-922-1284. 800-922-1284.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is, who do you hire? At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call 314-569-1050 or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
Things in Washington, D.C. may seem unsettled at times by their lack of progress. Well, one department in the U.S. government is progressing. That is the IRS. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. The IRS is in full function to collect on unpaid taxes. If you've been putting off a tax problem, it's time to call the Lance Story Law Firm and get it resolved. Don't think the government is too busy to focus on my issues. Too many of my clients thought the same. So if you owe back taxes or haven't filed returns in years, it's time to call the Lance Story Law Firm and finally resolve your tax issues. Remember, if you have tax problems, you have legal problems. Call the Lance Story Law Firm. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Or call 314-260-6120 or visit landstorylaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Considering buying or selling a home? When it comes to the Gelman team with eXp Realty, numbers don't lie. Over 1,500 Google and Zillow 5-star reviews, nearly 6,000 homes, and $2.5 billion in real estate sold. Call 314-336-1991, thegelmanteam.com.
Let's get a check of the roads again with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, no change. Still have our trouble downtown, Megan. This traffic report to service in McKelvey Homes. That left lane still closed, and the right-hand exit lane to Adelaide isn't that great either. So stay in those two center lanes, but it's flooded there, westbound 70. It's still jammed between Madison and Branch, so west of the Musial Veterans Bridge out to that Adelaide area, westbound 70 right now. Eastbound 64, Chesterfield Parkway west to Timberlake, still slow. McKnight to Big Bend, still heavy. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley, off the pace. North 270, Doherty Ferry up to Ladue. That's still pretty busy as well, but the rest of the highways look pretty good right now. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thank you, Roger. Checking that forecast for today. Once the rain moves away, it looks like we're going to have clouds breaking for some sunshine. It's going to be humid today, and we could see a spotty late day or evening thunderstorm as well. Expect a high of 81, a low of 65 tonight, and then tomorrow, sunny to partly cloudy, pleasant and less humid with a high of 81. Right now, 65 downtown at the Arch.
McKelvey Homes is breaking ground on something new in O'Fallon, Strawberry Farms. When McKelvey builds something, they do it right. Visit McKelvey Homes to schedule a tour at Strawberry Farms in O'Fallon. Visit McKelveyHomes.com today and move up to McKelvey.
I'm Megan Lynch. Thanks for listening to Total Information AM here on KMOX. The explosion of a Blue Origin rocket during a test at Cape Canaveral last week could be a big setback, not only for that company, but for plans to return U.S. astronauts to the moon. Joining me on the Quiver River Electric Gas Line, Dr. Jeff Gillis, research professor of physics at Washington University. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, Megan. How are you today?
Doing well. First off, for folks that may not be familiar with all the players in, the space race, first, what is Blue Origin and its relationship to NASA?
So Blue Origin is a space company founded by Jeff Bezos in the early 2000s. And similarly to Elon Musk founding SpaceX in about the same time frame. And they're a commercial company, and they've been contracted by NASA for certain types of missions, one of which is the human landing system, which is called for Blue Origin. It's called the Blue Moon Lander, and they're developing that.
What do we know about what happened last week with this explosion on the launch pad? It was just a test, but it sounds like there was a lot of damage that was done to that facility.
Yeah, they still have to kind of sort through the rubble to figure out what went wrong. It seemed to be in the lower part near the engines. Could have been something, a high-pressure system. So they'll have to go through that to figure out what went wrong. As you said, it was just a static test to fire the engine and see how things are running. So it was big surprise that the explosion happened and did take out a lot of the infrastructure. And Blue Moon, unfortunately, only has the one launch system, and whereas SpaceX, when they've had failures that have destroyed the launch pad or caused severe damage, they were able to they actually have two, so they were able to switch to the other one. So this will impede Blue Origin's progress for some time, maybe a year and a half.
And what we're hearing is that this could have impact on NASA's Artemis program. What type of impact could it have?
So we just heard a lot about Artemis 2 and its successful flight around the moon. And of course, it wasn't able to land because the Blue Moon lander and then a similar lander, what they call the human landing system, there's an additional one provided by SpaceX called Starship. And Artemis 3, the main mission for that, which would launch in right now on paper about the end of 2027, was supposed to do kind of an Apollo 10 type mission where both rockets, the NASA Orion rocket, carrying the astronauts, and SpaceX, and potentially Blue Origin, would all launch in a similar time frame And the Orion spacecraft would then show that it could correctly dock and maneuver with both companies' human landing system. That way it would prove that, we've got everything working correctly, and if there were any problems, it would be here right around low Earth orbit rather than trying the first time around the moon. So then that would set up Artemis 4, which right now is on paper for late 2028 to actually, do that dance of whichever spacecraft and the Orion system to, come together. Two of the astronauts, three of the astronauts actually would transfer over into the human landing system, and it would go down and land potentially at the south pole of the moon. It has been that Artemis, 3, and now it would be Artemis 4, was favored to be the Starship rocket or the human landing system. But because progress both with that and the Blue Moon landing system has been a little bit slow in pace in keeping things a little bit behind, they were going to test both systems, right here in low Earth orbit, and then decide from there which one will go forward. So hopefully this won't delay much with Artemis 3. They could just do the test with the Starship rocket, which seems to be ready. Starship or SpaceX had a successful V3 launch last week, and everything worked very nominally, except for one engine shut down, but it still was able to reach orbit. So the good thing of having two is if one does fail, you have a second one to go with. And right now, if NASA still proceeds with launching the end of 2027, it looks like they can still do it with the Starship SpaceX rocket.
Well, and we're looking for an announcement next week about the next set of astronauts for that Artemis 3 mission. And then also, WashU, I don't know that a lot of people realize what a big role that researchers like yourself play in the return to the moon. We've got less than a minute left, but maybe quickly, what are some ways that researchers here are involved in Artemis?
Right. So at WashU, we have people like myself studying the lunar samples and tying them to the remote sensing data. And we have people like Paul Byrne, who's over in Earth and Planetary Sciences. And what he's doing is, studying some of the remote sensing, but also archiving all the data. It's really important, that these data that we're spending, a lot of money to collect is here for, generations to come. So he's making sure that in the planetary data system, this data is kept so that people 10, 50, 100 years from now can download the data and maybe test it in a new way and learn more about the moon.
Jeff, thanks so much. Always appreciate having you on.
Great talking with you today, Megan. Have a wonderful week.
You too. That is Dr. Jeff Gillis, Research Professor of Physics at WashU, joining us this morning here on KMOX.
The summer's finally here, and it's time to take advantage of Zero Res's best deal of the summer. Don't let rising gas prices stop you from having a clean and healthy home. Zero Res is keeping comfort affordable with powerful cleaning at a price families can feel good about. Zero Res can handle every surface in your home: carpets, tile, grout, hardwood, laminate, upholstery, rugs, air ducts, and more. This month, get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $129. Take $100 off your air duct cleaning. Visit ZeroResSTL.com and ask for the DGS special.
You all remember me mentioning my wife's thermostat being broke because of the, the change of women evidently have to go through, which is horrible. People called me asking me, how did she feel about me sharing her insanity? I did notice seeing her looking through a fork at me. So, hey, guys, if your wife, your girlfriend, your better half is looking through a fork at you, look it up. Why? You're going to be shocked. But she's still happy that she's got air conditioning. So you need help. You need pricing. Somebody told you need new equipment. Remember, Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. But guys, look up wives looking through forks at husband. You better change your program around. God bless.
When you enter a place of business, you're owed a legal duty that the place of business is safe for you to shop in. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you suffered an injury at a place of business, our duty is to protect you after that harm. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Get
ready for a night back with legendary hits and non-stop energy.
Got my first real six
Brian Adams is bringing the Roll with a Punches tour to Enterprise Center Friday, July 24th.
Hello, this is Brian Adams.
Say along to the classics as Brian Adams delivers an unforgettable night of rock anthems. Plus, special guests Pat Benatar and Neil Girardo. Brian Adams, July 24th. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX.
This is Total Information AM here on 104.1 FM KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. What do you think about your teens' use of social media? Well, Pew Research has been asking parents this question, and they included some other questions in their latest survey of parents. Let's talk it over with Julie Smith. She is a media expert and an instructor at Webster University and author as well. Good morning, Julie.
Hi, Megan.
So what are some of the things that Pew asked parents about their teen social media use?
I thought it was really interesting. So they asked 1,400 parents of kids between 13 and 17. And what the parents told Pew is that they think that social media use hurts their kids' friendships, hurts their kids' mental health, hurts their kids' productivity, and most importantly, hurts their sleep. And I thought that was really interesting because in all the talking that you hear about social media platforms, you really don't hear sleep mentioned all that much. But I think that's huge. But at the same time, everything that the parents list that they're worried about their kids, you could say that, adults should be worried about all those things as well.
Well, I guess, what are we modeling for our kids? Because I know there are times right before bed, there I am on my phone because that's how I'm flushing my brain.
Same. I have to play at least one round of cards before I go to bed.
Was there anything in this study that really popped out to you as something new that maybe we had not heard before?
Well, I don't know if it's new, but it made me skeptical. And I don't know if that's because I'm kind of cynical about all this, but 85% of the parents told Pew that they talked to their kids about social media. And I think that seems really high.
85%?
Yes. And it kind of reminded me of the survey that Pew did when 11% of Americans said that they read terms of service on apps before they download them. I'm like, no, they didn't. So that kind of stuck out to me. When parents were asked which apps do you feel your kids are spending too much time on, no big surprise, the parents said TikTok and Snapchat.
I thought it was interesting because this was the first time that Pew had specifically looked at some of the individual platforms. Like you mentioned, TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram. I'd be curious about YouTube as well. I wish they would have asked about that.
YouTube is the behemoth. But YouTube is the one that we, just as humans, are using more than anything else. 400 hours of YouTube content get uploaded every minute. And usually parents of smaller children talk about YouTube more than any other platform.
When it comes to the amount of time that kids spend on social media, what do parents seem to know about that?
Very little. It's really interesting when I do parent workshops, parents tend to fall into one or two categories. They're either very hands-off, laissez-faire, this is their world, I don't really understand it. And then at the other end of the spectrum, there are parents who you say, give me an app to track my kid. and really the magic happens in the middle, right? Where you want to have these conversations with the kids so they understand why they use it, how it's designed, what the effects are, and just the economic structure of it all.
Pew found that parents are more positive about the role these platforms play in teen friendships than some of the other impacts. About 13% said they think it hurts teen friendships. I wonder if that's because this is a generation that they were so used to during the pandemic, connecting electronically.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for us, we knew that our friends would go out without us sometimes when we were growing up, but now it's so public. It's kind of rubbed in their faces. So I think maybe that's what parents are talking about when it harms friendships. But it can also harm adult relationships. I don't think that we're being fair to the kids when we say that this is just a teenage problem.
What kind of conversations do you wish that parents and kids would have about social media use?
Oh boy. Oh, a lot. Number one, talk to the kids about how the apps are designed specifically to be addicting. What does it mean if an app or a game is sticky? What are the privacy settings of particular apps? What are the age restrictions for particular apps? What have we agreed to in the terms of service that we haven't read? Do they understand that everything on there can be screenshot and saved forever? Do they know that more than half of the accounts on social media platforms are actually bots? Do they understand that these platforms don't exist as a public service, but specifically to make money? The algorithms, what does it mean when we're never shown anything online that we haven't already liked or approved of? And do the kids know to trust their guts when they're online? If there's something that creeps them out, do they understand why and what they should do in response? There's just countless conversation topics when it comes to this stuff.
Julie, thank you so much.
You bet.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends, sponsored by Ethos.
Playing in the dirt might actually cheer you up. A study in the journal Neuroscience